Waited a bit because I think there was an ad going, but welcome to, once again, back to late streaming, because I thought I had food, but I didn't, so I had to make it. Oh well. But we're here, I've had food, and we're just playing, like, itch.io games anyway, so it's fine. I think, like, I'm not sure if we're gonna manage to get through As We Know It today. We'll do our best, because like this seems like a kind of longish visual novel, but it seems to be mostly like, oh well, it was a day, I picked a thing, nothing happened, cool, all right. I did look up some stuff, like, just because I was like, what I looked up was like how many, what was I looking up? I was like, is there a guide for this, which I didn't look at, but I wanted to know if this was like a big enough game that was like a guide somewhere, and there was, but there is a couple that were in like an article format, so I just went to and like looked at the first paragraph to be like, is it complete? And then the first thing, just like, actually, what important thing you need to know before you do anything is that this choice is like the most important one and will define so much. And it was the like, should we close the doors thing, which I didn't fucking know. But I guess when you like play visual novels, like for me, playing visual novels, the first one that you do, you should just make whatever dumb decisions that you want. In this one, okay, so there's a couple of different kinds of visual novels. Usually there's one where they give you like a character, where you're just like, like this one is one where they give you a character where like you're Ashlyn, essentially. Like you could name Ashlyn like your name if you want, but like the face is not yours or whatever. And then there are ones where like they give you kind of like a main character sort of thing that you project onto. And those ones, I usually have my first run through just making whatever fucking decisions that I would actually make in a situation, or whatever I feel like I want to make, just based on vibes and whatever. This one, because whenever it's something like this one where we're a character and I'm kind of like making up who Ashlyn is based on the various information I get, it's been harder for me to like fully just kind of make whatever decisions I want to, because like I get that like sort of a Deltarune sort of vibe where being like, am I just piloting this person's life against their will, which isn't like really a thing in most games that aren't Deltarune. But I do think about now, like, I don't know, I feel too much about various stories I consume sometimes. So I didn't. I started being like, what does this Ashlyn seem like? Start to make decisions based on what she did. And like, I think the decision, like the whether or not to close the doors fully, was me being like, nah, we should open the doors. Like thinking about current era stuff and being like, I think we should always try to help people all the time, at least a little bit, you know. And yeah, like I went through slight thing. There was like, yeah, this person wants to close the doors and this person didn't, and this person, and I was surprised at which one of the loves and interests were like, yeah, keep the doors closed, and which ones were like, no, we should have opened them. So like, very interesting. I didn't read into it more than that, but I'm like, damn, important decision already made. But anyway, got a new playlist for going. This is like a nostalgic Nintendo Wii U music mix, but there's no list for it, so I don't know what the songs are from, so I can't talk about that. We'll just move on. All right, and I have to sort of finagle the game because we have been using the same widget to play this one as we have to play Sonic Adventure 2, so I have to mess with the settings. Where are you? There you are. I know you can load. There you are. Alright, well, load. I think, yeah, we're on our main thing. Even though this is like the best place to save because it literally is in the front of when whichever day, it does make it hard to tell which one is which. Is there a way, like, I love when visual novels let you name the files, because like, in case you save a whole bunch in the same kind of like very important decision tree. Richard. Okay. Got up, head out to grab coffee before work. Things were a bit more tense than usual. Everyone seemed to be processing what had happened yesterday. I forgot what happened yesterday. Is there history? Oh, there was a protest. There was a protest. Wow, I'm kind of glad they keep the history. There was a protest and whatever. Jude doesn't seem to... In this moment, like, is when we learned that Jude probably wanted to close the door. I learned for sure from, like, kind of poking in the guides that he did. And I was like, whoops, I said I wanted to open it. Well. Otherwise, the day went on normally. Jude worked, Brian pretended to work, and I tried to learn my way around. Eventually, I fell into a flow that helped get my mind off all things. Work was over and had some time to kill. Actually, where did I go last time? Headed back to work, blah, 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 blah. Protesters, blah, 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 blah. Let's see if I can find what I did before. Had some time to go. Okay, so this was when I went to the gym. So, Icarus. Eva swaggered around one of the pool tables and smiled when our eyes met. She mouthed, "Watch this," and then leaned over to take a shot. She smacked the ball, and it hit the corner and nothing else. I could hear her curse from here. She goes, "Fuck!" Covered my mouth so she wouldn't see me laughing. She handed off her pool stick and headed in my direction. I'm usually a lot better at that. It was still very impressive. That I missed. It was a very skilled miss. She laughed and sat beside me. I'll teach you to play sometime. It's a lot of fun. Sure. I'd like to learn. Might be fun. I'm a great teacher. Still get the hang of it in no time. Should I buy you a drink? No, I can't stay. She frowned and sighed. I was just on a break. I gotta get back to work soon. Really? This late? I'm doing some extra guard duty stuff. She tapped on her knees and glanced behind me at some other security officers. They waved her over. I guess you gotta go. Yeah, work. Need to keep this place safe. She smiled and hopped to her feet, then chased after the others. I don't remember if Eva was somebody who wanted to close the doors. It feels like stereotypical narrative. She would want to close the doors because it's harder for her to keep things safe if random people get let in. But I don't know that. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Okay. So things are mostly okay. I got up and headed out to grab coffee for work. Going to work, had to pause. There was no loud music. Brian appeared to be working, and everything seemed to be extra clean. Oh, is the mayor coming? Don't just stand there, Ashlyn. Jude came up behind me. The mayor will be here any minute. Look busy, okay? He is coming. Why is he coming? The inspection. Inspection? Yeah, try to stay out of the way, okay? Between Brian and the mayor, I may lose my damn mind today. Damn. I nodded and started to head over to the desk where my paperwork was. Before I could even reach it, the door opened again and I turned to see who had entered. The mayor walked in and the air changed. I felt tense, but I saw a familiar smile beside him. Mom, here's here too. She gave me an overly friendly wave, which I awkwardly returned. There were a few curious glances sent my way, but I tried to ignore them. Just get back to work, Ashlyn. Brian stepped up and began to fill the mayor in on everything. He was holding a piece of paper, and even from here I could tell it was Jude's handwriting. I tried it inside and tried to focus on paperwork. I started to fill out the forms when someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned and Mom was smiling at me. How is work going? Don't you need to, help the mayor walk around or something? I'm sure he can manage without me for a few moments. She looked over my shoulder and I fought the weird urge to cover up the paperwork. She was making me nervous. Do you have to? She took a step back, rolling her eyes. So, how have you liked working here? Love it. I love it. I really like working here. All the plants make me feel like I'm in an old novel. Oh, that's good to hear. I hadn't noticed the mayor sneak up on us. Did he have to walk so quietly? Camilla, I believe we are done here. Perhaps you'd like to stay behind to spend time with your daughter? No, I'm fine. I've got work to do. She gave me a quick hug. It's all right. I'll see you later tonight. Rick looked between us and then stiffly patted my shoulder, making my chest tighten. I froze as he awkwardly said goodbye, and they both walked out. After they were gone, I threw myself into my work so no one asked me why the mayor was acting so familiar with me. It's probably fucking my mom. Work was over and had some time to kill. Library. Nothing particularly interesting was going on in the library today. There were a few things I could do. See what Trevor was up to. When I walked to the library, I noticed Brian and Trevor at the counter as always. Brian said hi, and Trevor grunted. Nothing unusual there. I walked down an aisle just in time to see someone tuck a book into their bag. Our eyes met, and theirs widened. They darted back out of sight. Shit. Book thieves? Really? Fucking hell. Maybe they were just putting the book into their bag until they got to the counter? I could say something to Trevor, but I didn't know the consequences for stealing a book. I'll tell Trevor. I'm trying to be friends with Trevor. I knew he probably wouldn't appreciate me talking to him, but he would probably also want to know. I groaned and walked slowly back to the counter. Trevor, what? I saw someone put a book in their bag. Not sure if they're planning to borrow it or not. Darkness passed in Trevor's eyes, and I took a step back. Who? I tried to describe the guy, and he jotted down what I said. Even Brian seemed surprised by the menace emanating from Trevor. Ashlyn, remind me to never steal from the library. Right. I quietly handed Trevor my book selection. He made note of it and then handed it back. With that over, I headed home. Getting late, time for bed. Alright, didn't do much more friendliness, but maybe it's like a compiling. Got up, headed out to grab coffee, blah blah blah. Another day in the greenhouse. Carefully organized reports. Brian left scattered on his desk, and I took the water tank level. Same old, same old. Work was over, and I had some time to kill. Gym. Right. When I walked into the gym, I saw Tabby wasn't alone. She was standing in a pose with her father. He appeared to be teaching her self-defense. Maybe Vince would like some help, actually, though. Perhaps I could just watch quietly. They didn't seem to mind me observing, so I just stuck around until I got bored. Feeling tired after all that exertion, I decided to head home and take the longest possible shower that I could. Oh, okay. Well, I probably could have gotten more... Well, let's try to... Maybe Vince would like some help. I headed over, and they looked at me curiously. Hey, guys. Ashlyn! Dad's teaching me to fight! I'm teaching her basic self-defense. That sort of thing is important, even in Camden. Do you want some help? I'm pretty good at that. No, but you can hang out. You might just learn something. Sure. Vince smiled, and then Tabby seemed pleased. I felt the strange and quickly vanishing lump in my throat. Okay, just do what I tell you. I watched Vince go over the ways to stand and weak points and how to attack an opponent much larger or stronger than you. I felt like I learned something, and spending time with those two was nice. Vince can be scary until you saw how gentle he was around his daughter. Feeling tired after all that exertion, I just... Okay, so that was actually what I was more hoping for, to get included. I was getting late. Okay. I think I didn't actually have, like, any friendship level with Tabby before, so that's good now. Wasn't any work to do today, so maybe I could try to see someone. Yeah, we're trying to go all in on Jude, because we've already decided. There was such an uneasy tension in the air that I couldn't sit still. The protest had been days ago, but I was still feeling tense from it. Mom had been working late a lot, and it seemed to be another one of those nights. I sat up and rubbed my face roughly. Maybe I should check out the bar, or I could either get a drink or drown my thoughts with music. I wasn't the only one drawn to take risks tonight. There were lots of faces buried in drinks and dancing sloppily by the jukebox. I headed to the bar. It seemed least hectic. As soon as I sat down, Sam slapped a hard water in the bar in front of me, then walked away. She appeared to be busy. She hadn't bothered to ask what I wanted, just given me my usual. I took a sip and then noticed a shape move and sit beside me. I turned and saw Jude sit beside me and lay his head on the table. Hey. Hey. His voice was muffled and he sounded tired. Is Sam making you help her tonight? I hope not. He leaned up and glanced over in her direction nervously. She didn't notice, so he slumped back down on the bar. I'm so fucking tired. Were you working extra hard to cover for Brian again? No, it's not that. It's nothing. He jerked up and turned to me. I thought you didn't like crowded areas. What brought you here? Didn't know I was so busy. Thought I'm gonna see you. Needed a drink. Let's do a quick save. Let's try. I need a drink. Pointed to my drink and took a sip. I just wanted a drink. Jude nodded in approval. Did you know that other cities like this have bands and singers in their bars? Really? Yeah, Camden doesn't have any talent or anyone willing to share it, though. Can you play any instruments? No, they're rare out here. He scoffed. I thought maybe you might. Me? Yeah, do you play or sing? I stopped to think. I'd never gotten hold of an instrument and sure sang from time to time, but not where anyone might hear me. Finally, I shook my head. No, but why would you think so? Jude shrugged and poked at something on the bar. You got a nice voice, is all. Aw. He shrugged and pushed away the bar to sit up straight. I need to get some sleep. Later. Oh, okay. He thought I had a nice voice. Never heard something like that before, but it was nice. Probably should have thanked him, but he'd left so quickly. I went back to looking down at my drink, but I did feel a bit lighter. Getting tired. Okay, I want to see. Something's happening. We'll save over this. And then we will... Ooh, every time... We can't go back after a save? Ooh. Let's go to... Good thing I had the quick save then. Let's see, I thought I might see you. I don't know, at least you're here. That makes it bearable. Jude opened his mouth, closed it, and swallowed. Yeah? Yeah, so... Do you know that other cities... Oh, okay, so it's like the same thing. Just a little bit of, the same thing. And Mama shook me awake and ignored my attempt to hide under a pillow. Ashlyn, Alstrom, wake up, my child. Do I have to? Things are so hectic here right now. You can't stay home. What if I get distracted on the way to the meeting? I might get lost or fall in a hole if you aren't there to stop me. She was in a good mood. She laughed as she spoke. Why are you like this in the morning? I should ask you the same thing. I got out of bed and started to get dressed. Mom continued to prance around the room. Why are you in such a good mood? More so than usual, anyway. I had good dreams. She shrugged and began to page through one of her books while she waited for me. It wasn't like her to let anything spoil her fun time, so I shouldn't be surprised. I finished getting ready, and we headed out to the town hall meeting. Mom left me at the entrance to speak to the mayor, and I went to find the coffee. I took a cup that looked fuller than the others and leaned against the wall to watch people come and go before the mayor began to speak. Everyone just looked tired. Vince appeared next to the mayor, whispered something into his ear, and then walked away. That seemed to be what he had been waiting for because he approached the podium to speak. Good morning, Camden. I'm excited to remind you of the upcoming Winter Festival that will be held here next week. I also want to announce that there has been no new reports of the stomach bug. Oh, good. I forgot about that. I waited, but he never said anything about the protest. I'd expected something? Not sure what. I looked around and there were people whispering to each other. I couldn't tell if it was about what I was thinking or something else. The town hall meeting was done, and nothing. Not a word. I tried to listen to what everyone was saying around me, but most people seemed more concerned about the upcoming Winter Festival thing. I started to leave, but everyone I knew was here. Gloria was at the table, gathering unused coffee. Micah was studying the bulletin board. Jude was looking around the room nervously. Ava was laughing with some security officers. I could go talk to someone if I wanted to. Yeah, let's go talk to Jude again. I started to approach Jude, but when he noticed, he waved me away. I froze, and he motioned towards the exit. I took a hesitant step, and he nodded, so I left and went to the hall. I stepped out, and after a moment, Jude joined me. Ashlyn. Jude? What? I just gestured around wildly. I almost got into the radio room. He whispered, stepping closer so I could hear him. I think someone noticed, so I backed off, and I was just waiting for another chance. I think I drew too much attention, though. I nodded slowly. The radio room? There is a room off the community center that holds all the radio equipment. I just thought they might have some interesting things laying around that they didn't need, right? I wonder what's in there. Bet they have all kinds of neat gadgets in there, but they'd probably notice if something went missing. Right, okay. I was wanting to see how they have their gear set up. I've almost got enough stuff to start getting my own radio working. They're illegal. No one's supposed to have one in case it interferes with the Camden's main radio, but it's not a big deal, alright? I want to know what it's like up there, don't you? See how people are doing? Do you think the mayor's even tried to contact Ofsted? Or if he's contacted them, he hasn't shared any news. The radio's probably down anyway. I just thought if people had some closure, then things would calm down. I think he's probably right. I shrugged. He was probably right. But he was rubbing his face and didn't seem to want to talk about it anymore. He left to head back to his place. I went back inside. I looked around until I saw Mom standing by the mayor. Standing so close. I sighed and took some tentative steps toward her. I didn't want to just leave. Mom, I'm headed back. Mom turned back to me and smiled softly. Of course! I have a bit of work to do. I'll see you tonight by dinner time, okay? Ashlyn, I'm sorry I kept your mother so busy. I hope you know how much of a help she is to me. Uh-huh. Camilla, truly you've helped me in so many ways. Oh, you stop that. I'm too old to blush. He smiled at her, and I was clearly forgotten, so I backed up and made my exit. I had some time to do something before the day was over. Last time I went to Icarus Library. Nothing particularly interesting was going on in the library today. There are a few things that I could do. Yeah, I'm gonna keep seeing what Trevor is up to. Hey guys, what's new? We got 2 new books in today. Really? That's a big deal. They aren't ready to be checked out yet. He wants to clean them up and repair them a bit. They won't last long if I don't reinforce the bindings. What are they? What kind of books, I mean? One is a really old children's book. The other is some kind of thriller, I think. I'll know for sure once I'm finished with them. Still, new books. That's great. Oh, come on. Don't act so surprised. What do you mean? Brian. It's not a bad thing. Don't look at me like that. Ashlyn, we're friends here, right? Not really. Yeah, we are. So then tell us what's going on between your mom and the mayor. She's his assistant or whatever? That isn't what he means. What exactly do you think is going on between them? I guess that means the rumors aren't true unless Camilla likes to keep secrets from her daughter. What rumors? That the mayor and Camilla are becoming close? Like, really close? I glowered at him. I hadn't heard the rumors, but I wasn't an idiot. I knew my mom had a bit of a crush on him. Could it be mutual? What would that have to do with the books? The mayor added books as an item for desire for the scavengers and couriers. Before, they weren't actively looking for them, but now they are. Rumor has it that the change of heart is because of Camilla. I shuddered. So, is there anything going on with the mayor and your mom? Anything at all? Not that I know of. I sighed and made excuses so I could leave. They're rumors. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Okay, so my thing with Jude did go up a bit. Everybody else is still basically the same. Let's save again. Coffee before work. Oops. No auto. Hold on. Just another day in the greenhouse. I danced along to Jude's music when I mixed the compost. The stench was horrible. Same old, same old. Work was over and had some time to kill. Gym, bar, library. I walked in and saw Gloria walking slowly along the track. Hey, Gloria. Hey, I didn't know you were into fitness. I am, I guess. It's always a good skill to have. That's good, that's good. Why does she look nervous? We felt quiet, but I got the strong feeling she was waiting for me to continue the conversation. I should say something, but what? Try to flirt now. Why are these the only 2? I don't want to look like a dick, but okay, let's quick save. And we're going to brag about myself. On the surface, I didn't have much of a choice, you know. I had to stay in shape or I'll die. It wasn't exactly a lie. Really? Yeah, did you know that you can outrun some of the smaller windstorms? You can? I mean, you have to be fast. They're kind of unpredictable. It's better to find shelter, but that's not always an option. Were there a lot of storms on the surface? We only hear about the really big ones here. A lot of the smaller sandstorms are more of a nuisance than anything. Just gotta clean everything after. What else? Her eyes were bright and she seemed to really want me to continue. I wasn't sure how else to make myself sound really awesome though. I tried to outline all the times I did something interesting on the surface and stretched the truth when it suited me. Gloria loved it and I really enjoyed her laughter and attention. We walked until I ran out of stories and lies and we parted. You just like lied about things? Okay. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Walking the greenhouse for work, surprised to hear thumping music for once. After checking, I saw that Brian was napping in his office as usual, but the sound never stopped him before. I began doing my daily duties when I caught sight of Jude slinking between the aisles with a scowl on his face. Wait, did I... No thumping music for once. Oh, I missed that. Let's ask him what's going on. Jude, what? Not so loud, Ashlyn. My head feels like my brain is trying to escape from my skull. Ah, why not go to the clinic? They might have something. I don't want to spend the beads for that. I wasn't sure if I should mention that Micah had given me the medication for free or not. At the time, I hadn't really thought about it. Thought I might have been charged the weekly taxes and not even know it. I never read them very closely. Are you gonna be alright? Yeah, I just gotta work through it. So, later. He walked away without another word, grumbling under his breath. I left him to it and got back to work. And the workday, Jude seemed to have recovered his usual mood and even gave me a friendly smile before leaving. Nice. Work was over and I had some time to kill. We just went to the gym. Bar. Nothing particularly interesting was going on in Icarus. A few things I could do. Hang out with Sam. Started to walk into the bar, but was stopped from very irate Sam. Get out! All of you! There were people filtering out of the bar all around me. Sam? What's wrong? She finally seemed to spot me and pointed at me. You can stay. I wasn't sure if I wanted to at this point, but was too scared to disobey her. What's going on? I spoke quietly as the rest of the people fled. She just shrugged and returned to the bar and offered me a drink. Order a drink, I guess. I'll take a hard water. She started to get my drink together, muttering under her breath. The nerve of some people. Yeah? She sighed and lowered her head into her hands, then made a noise. It was either a growl or a groan. I wasn't sure. I probably overreacted, but I don't care. Sometimes you just gotta get a break from people's shit, you know? I nodded and sipped at my drink. Things were getting rowdy and loud, so... She shrugged. I guess you're okay, though. I smiled and took another drink. I was too nervous to speak, but I was happy she seemed to be patient with me. She also seemed to be done venting because she turned away and let silence fall between us. Sometimes you just gotta let an old lady complain. Not that she's probably really old, but... It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Okay, friendship with Sam still the same. Need to do a bit more work. Head out to grab a coffee for work. Just another day in the greenhouse. Refilled water tanks, took notes on inventory, same old. Work was over, had some time to kill. Gonna go to the library. The library was really busy tonight. I saw Trevor surrounded by children and looking overwhelmed. I glanced around, but I didn't see Brian anywhere. I had never seen so many kids in one place, and I had no idea why they were all here now. What's going on? Trevor grimaced, but actually seemed relieved to see me. Ms. Miller thought it would be good to have a story time. I suppose she assumed I would cooperate. I almost felt bad for him. Kids were pushing large picture books into his hand and tugging at his shirt. Some books fell from their shelves, followed by a small voice saying, "Oops," and I could see Trevor grinding his teeth. Help Trevor. Help Trevor. With a heavy sigh, I decided to help Trevor out. I grabbed one of the books that had been shoved at him and got the kids to follow me. I took them to the back and read through several books until parents began to filter in and take their kids home. When they were finally gone, I leaned back and closed my eyes. That had been exhausting. They're gone. I know. You can go now, too. I opened my eyes, but there wasn't any cruelty in his face. You're welcome, Trevor. Yeah, thanks. Why wasn't Brian here? This seems like something he'd love to do. Trevor shrugged and walked away, ending the conversation. With him gone, I had nothing left to do. Well, head home without a book. I was pretty tired anyway. It's getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Yay, more friends with Trevor. I got up and head out to grab coffee before work. At work, Jude handed me a tub and sent me to pick fruit. Apparently I was trusted enough now to harvest berries. Or Jude was swamped and needed help. I cranked the wheel to turn the vertical rows so that I could reach the berries and walked along the aisles picking them. They smelled nice, sweet, and tart. After I was finished, I marked that row and started on the next one. Hopefully Jude will let me do this kind of thing more often. It was very peaceful, and I may or may not have snuck a few berries to eat. Work was over and I had some time to kill. Gym. Nothing particularly interesting going on in the gym today. A few things I could do. Hang out with Tabby. Tabby was sitting in the gym reading a book and taking notes. What you studying? I'm practicing calculus. Whoa. Calculus. She looked up at me as if I was the dumbest person in the world. Calculus. It's math. Why didn't you just call it math? You know there are different kinds of mathematics, don't you? Different kinds? She sighed and patted the ground to get me to sit beside her. Then she showed me her paper. It was covered in strange symbols and numbers. Holy shit. You didn't study this stuff when you were growing up? No, I was learning other stuff. Survival stuff. Like what? I do know stuff, like surviving, plant stuff, self-defense, or whatever. How is it that math stuff going to help you? It's way more advanced than anything I've ever needed. You have to know more stuff to do more complicated things, like building geothermal reactors or designing visual devices from scratch, or... I get it. I sat beside her and glanced over her work. Do you want me to teach you? Sure. You could come in handy, so yeah. Okay, next time you come, I'll bring my old workbooks. Okay. We talked about everything she was learning and other small stuff. It was getting late, so she had to leave. I decided to go home too. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. She's so small. I haven't learned calculus, I don't think, at all, maybe? I'm in my 30s. Yeah. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Just another day in the greenhouse. Cleaned water filters. Yeah, we've seen this before. Work was over. Had some time to kill. Icarus. We only see Cabby in the gym. Other people we see in other places sometimes. Actually, no, to be honest, we don't see Trevor anywhere else. I think we did see Sam. Yeah, we saw Sam in the gym once. I walked in feeling a little more exhausted than usual. Then I glanced around and saw something that made me even more tired. Mom was here with the mayor. They hadn't seen me yet. Was this something I really wanted to deal with right now? We're gonna save. Particularly because we haven't actually, like, saved properly in a while. I don't want to say hello. Let's spy on them. If that goes wrong, then we'll just leave. Because I just don't want Ashlyn to deal with something. I sat near them but tried to keep out of sight. If Mom saw me, she would call me over. They began to discuss something, some kind of trouble in maintenance room. Mom was trying to reassure the mayor that it wasn't as big of a problem as he was making it out to be. Then the conversation turned more casual and I got bored. I snuck out as carefully as I could. They hadn't noticed me, thankfully. Okay. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Okay, well. Ooh, a little bit of more stress. Was that like that last time? I don't remember. Sat on my bed and sighed. There's so many things on my mind. Specifically of one person, Jude. Not sure when the feelings started to develop. Anytime anyone had seemed a little interesting on the surface, something would happen to ruin it. Things were different now. Sure, maybe I could just forget about it. Or I could go see him. I covered my face and felt torn between several feelings. In the end, I couldn't fight it, so I got up and headed out to try to find Jude. I've done enough. Finally found Jude at Icarus. He was face down on a table, alone. Sam was busy at the bar. I would have thought he was asleep, but his arms were outstretched and he was snapping at his rubber band. The bar was starting to get busy, really. I really wanted to go talk to Jude. I nibbled on my lip a bit. Would it be weird for me to approach him? No, I'd done before. Overthinking it now. I took a hesitant step forward, then one back, then one forward, and then Jude raised his head. I froze, but he'd seen me. Shit. He leaned up and rolled his shoulders. He watched me expectantly. Oh no. What was I supposed to do? Should I wave? I was taking too long and he cocked his head slightly to the side and then waved me over. I walked over and sat in the booth where he motioned me to. Hey, Ashlyn. Hi. He looked at me, his brow raised curiously. Something wrong? You're acting weird as fuck. I laughed uncomfortably, then cleared my throat. Why was I so nervous? Ooh. I got a lot of my mind. I love a drink, tired, sleepy mind. Jude blinked and started to slide out of the booth. Let me, get you a drink, okay? Does that happen, like, every time? Like if I say, wow. Wow, it just happened. No matter what happens, she just, like, fucks it up. I just nodded, not trusting myself to say anything else. He went up to the bar and spoke to Sam. She handed him 2 drinks, and he started to walk back. I took a few deep breaths and told myself to act like I normally would. Here, I got you a sunrise. Is that alright? Yeah, thanks. He handed me the drink, and I took a long sip and hoped the liquor would calm my nerves. So, what's up with you? Oh, nothing really. I'm just tense as hell. I laughed and took another drink. Jude frowned. This must be hard on you. You only got here a few weeks ago and things are so crazy. This isn't what it's normally like. What was it like before? Well, not like this. Everyone seemed content to follow the mayor. Now people are protesting but being openly ignored and silenced. It's crazy. I nodded. It'll be alright in the end, I think. It'll just take some time and then things will settle back down. That's good. We felt quiet again. I started to think of something to say, but Jude leaned back and averted his gaze. You going to that stupid winter thing tomorrow? Yeah, isn't everyone? Well, I'm going. Yeah. So, maybe I'll see you there? Oh! We could hang out. It might make it less boring. Yeah, we should meet up when we get there. He nodded and then grinned. Okay, I'll find you when I get there. We fell into another silence. I felt so damn awkward. I took a breath and I thought of something to talk about. Music. I've been saving up to buy a CD player. Any idea where I can find music? I've got some stuff I'll loan you if you promise to take care of it. You've got CDs to spare? Jude shrugged and smiled. I might be a bit of a pack rat, I just can't toss out anything. I might need it for something. That included CDs. I've got tons of them. Only some of them are any good though. They had some weird ass music back in the day. I nodded. I'd stumbled on some weird stuff in the ruins. Jude opened his mouth to say something, but his name was called out across the bar. Jude! Come here, this damn thing's busted! Jude sighed and ran a hand through his hair to brush it out of his face a bit. I'll see you tomorrow, okay, Ashlyn? Yeah, I'll see you there, Jude. He nodded and left to see what Sam needed help with. It was getting late and it was time for everyone. Okay. Woke up to the sound of Mom singing happily. She was in the bathroom, but the door was open so I could hear her. I covered my eyes as a memory of what day was washed over me. Let's save. Normally, I would be dreading the crowded and awkward event, but Jude would be there. I took a slow breath and tried to fight off the new anxiety that was building. Ashlyn, are you awake? Maybe. Well, get ready. I'm so excited for the festival, aren't you? We've never had anything like this back at Offset. Are you planning to spend it with the mayor? Of course. Why wouldn't I? We've gotten really close since I became his assistant. You really like him, don't you? Mom shrugged, but I saw that smile I'd seen so many times before. Oh, Mom. She sighed and approached me. I sat up and she sat beside me. Darling, why does it make you so uneasy? Rick is a great guy and he's always been kind to us. I don't know. I'm happy if you're happy. I just gotta get used to it. Mom gave me a quick hug and then went back to getting ready. I know I'm not the only one looking forward to spending the day with someone. What? Jude, you're meeting him here and there, right? How do you know that? Yeah, so I stood up and cleared my throat. Anyway, we should really get going. Mom laughed and nodded. When we were both ready and we left and headed to the community center. The chairs had been pushed aside and the room was decorated with paper and lights. Everything was white with touches of blue, music played softly, and the tables were lined with refreshments. The room was crowded and the lights were dimmed. Everything had a glow to it from the neons, and the moment I was taken aback. It was all quite pretty and so bizarre. Mom gave my hand a squeeze before moving away and I was left to my own devices. I looked around and tried to see if I could find Jude. I caught sight of Jude walking along the refreshment table. He seemed to be considering everything that had been set out very carefully. As I walked towards him, he might have sensed me because he turned. Ashlyn, look at this. At what? We overplanted strawberries and I'm just amazed at all the strawberry things that the cooks were able to make. Strawberry cake, pie, cookies, tarts, pastries, whipped strawberry cream. They even put some in the fucking salad. He pointed at the large bowl that had several leafy vegetables as well as little red slices of strawberries. Strawberry juice. I laughed. I couldn't help it. He sounded so offended. You think this is funny, huh? He smiled at me. I guess you don't care for strawberries? No. What would make you think that? I like them actually. I'm just sick of them now. He laughed and stepped away from the table to stand closer to me. Want some? He pulled out a flask and held it out to me. Sure. I started to take a drink while Jude attempted to warn me. It was too late. My large swallow of the burning liquid made me cough and stutter. You were only supposed to take a sip. I handed the flask to him and wiped my mouth. I tried to stop coughing. What is that? A really good bourbon. It's, not the best, but Sam insisted I try it. He laughed and patted me on the back. He took a sip from the flask and put it back in his pocket. You alright? Yeah, I think. He reached out and wiped my cheek. He was so close. You want to dance or something? I nodded and he led me over to the dance floor. The music was fast and he danced horribly, but I'm sure I did as well. We laughed about it. Things began to wind down, so I said my goodbyes and looked for Mom before heading home. I found her still dancing with the mayor. I could only sigh. There was really nothing I could do at this point but wish her well. I left. I was sure I would see her later. Unless. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. It didn't really improve much with Jude, but I guess we're on like a level where that's just how it is. Maybe there's just way more game left. I don't know. I got out and headed out to grab a copy for work. Just another day. Brian was supposed to help Jude get everything else done. Same old, same old. Work was over and I had time to kill. pretty sure last time... No, that was... What did we do last time? Like, we went to Icarus, but that's because she was purposely seeking out Jude, I think. Got 2 library things, which is one, they were like, so what's up with your mom? And the other one was story time. We got the 2 gym things, which was Gloria and Tabby. And then Icarus, we had, oh shit, mom is there. And then spending time with Sam. And then the other one was Jude. I think it's just Icarus again at this point. We just had an extra one because of the random Jude event. I walked in and saw Gloria sitting at the bar. She slightly hunched over and had her back turned to as many people as possible. I couldn't help but wonder if she was in a bad mood. Buy her a drink and give her space. I sat down and gave Sam my order, and then I told her I'd pay for Gloria's next drink. Sam rolled her eyes. I'll add it to a tab. Her tab? Do you have any idea how many people buy that girl drinks? She'd have to be in here every night to drink them all. No one minds this being added onto a list? I tell her who paid for a drink when the name comes up. A lot of people like to earn her favor, you know. She's practically Camden royalty next to the mayor. She's a child of one of those founding families. I thought the mayor did it all by himself, or did his family did or whatever. Can't pull something like this off without a few friends, you know what I mean? I wasn't sure I did, but I felt a little guilty gossiping about Gloria, so I just smiled and nodded. Well, I guess add me to that list then. I paid for mine and someday Gloria's drink. I sat at the bar and chatted with Sam. She wasn't super talkative, but she did speak as if she had something she wanted to say. Okay, I want to find out what the fuck else, like, if we actually talked to Gloria, what would happen. Let's save, talk to Gloria, talk to Jude. I don't remember this one. Clearly, oh no, this was, like, quite a while ago. Well, we'll save here, because I don't remember what even that is. Let's see. Go say hi. Hey, Gloria. Ashlyn. What? I'm sorry, I've actually gotta go. Whoop. And left. She's at the bar while she always leaves. I see. Ah, don't make that face. Come on, you'll bring down the whole mood. Right, sorry, Sam. Okay, so I'm gonna actually keep the last one that we did. It was better to not talk to her at all. It was this one. Yeah. And we can save that into the main one. Time for bed. Yeah. I'm kind of annoyed that I don't have much going on with Micah. Like, I have stuff going with everybody else because they actually do things, but I guess Micah never fucking leaves the doctor's office because he was like my second choice. So like, got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Today was a normal day at work until I walked to Byron's office. He leaned back in his chair and staring at the ceiling. Hey. Morning, Ashlyn. Well, actually, it's more like afternoon or... Yeah. He glanced at me with a small smile, then looked away, clearly distracted. I spoke before I thought better of it. Everything alright? Yeah, of course. I'm just stuck in daydreams, I guess. He gave me a more genuine smile. If you did everything Jude asked you to, suppose you could go see... Trevor? He smirked at me. Well, you know, I think at first I was just so fascinated by someone so... unfriendly. He isn't though, not really. Once you get to know him, he actually really is great. Thoughtful and funny. I waited for him to continue, but he only shook his head. You better get back to work. Jude will think I'm a bad influence on you. Alright, you should go see him after work. He nodded and then waved me away. I finished up work and saw that Brian had left early again. I wonder if he was in the library with Trevor. Probably. Work was over, had some time to kill. It's like we just go to the library. We just went to Icarus, so I guess that's where we're going. Nothing particularly interesting going on in the library. 2 or 3 things I could do. See what Trevor was up to. Is Brian here? Ashlyn. Trevor, where's Brian? Who knows? I figured you usually do? Trevor shrugged. Are you guys having a fight? Trevor sighed heavily. Sometimes he hangs out here, sometimes he doesn't. I don't know where he goes otherwise. Maybe he's at work. I doubt that. Does he even borrow books? Trevor actually grinned. I tried not to make any sudden movements and spook him. Sometimes, if I suggest something to him. Something I think he'd like. I think he's actually read a lot of the books in here already. Really? Yeah, so I have work to do. Someone came here and screwed up the order of the non-fiction section. That's weird. Yeah. It's probably Gloria. Do you want me to help? No, I'd rather do it alone. It'll get done faster that way. I nodded and gave him space. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Got him, head out and grab coffee for work. Let's save. I just gotta remember to save most of the time because otherwise it's gonna be like several days in game before I do. Just another day in the greenhouse. Carefully organized the reports Brian had left scattered on his desk and checked the water tank levels. Same old, same old. Work was over and I had some time to kill. Gym. The gym was very busy today. It looked like they were getting everyone ready to play a game of some kind. There were people sitting down to watch and some were setting out nets. I'd never seen any kind of thing like it and had no idea how to play. Lots of people were starting to filter in though. Let's see. I found a spot to sit down and watch them play the game. It was an interesting match where people ran around kicking a ball into several nets. Several nets. Things started to get really loud, so I cut out a bit early to avoid the crowds when the game started to wrap up. Okay. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. So I didn't actually really learn anything from that. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. And Jude ran out to me. Did you hear anything about the water? What? No, what's wrong? The damn water has been shut off. Oh no, that's really bad, isn't it? You gotta help me activate the water reserves, then I gotta shut them down when the water's back. Fucking hell. Right, got it. Brian is nowhere as usual. If you see him, kick him for me. I only nodded. I wasn't sure what else to say. Jude began to talk me through the very long and complicated process of getting the reserved water to flow so that some of the plants weren't damaged. We managed to get it all set up just in time for the water to come back on. We then spent the day shutting them all back off. We better hope this doesn't happen again. Not until the reserves are replenished, anyway. Oh, did Brian ever return? Yeah, he's doing the paperwork in his office that I set out for him. I hope all the writing hurts his wrist. Jude was roughly snapping at the rubber band on his wrist. The skin was so raw, he must have been doing that all day. When he caught me looking, he stopped and backed away. See ya. Bye, Jude. We left for the day while Brian finished up the paperwork, or whatever it is he actually does in his office. Work was over and I had some time to kill. We went to the gym. Let's go to Icarus. Nothing particularly interesting. A few things I could do. Hang out with Sam. Sat at the bar and gave Sam a friendly nod. She hardly looked up, but she returned the gesture. You want the same as before? Yeah. She grunted and grabbed a clean glass. As I watched her, a man sat directly next to me. He leaned over, smelling strongly of liquor. Hey. He muttered more words, but his speech was so slurred I had no idea what he was trying to say. Whatever it was, he found it amusing and started to laugh at himself. Sam met my gaze and raised her brow. I feel like, okay, think in this one, like, I don't know what to do exactly, but I think what Ashlyn would do would, just ignore him. I waved her concern away. I can handle a random drunk guy. I pretended he wasn't there until he got the hint and left to bother someone else. With that handled, I spent a few hours at the bar and then went home. Okay. Out of curiosity, I'm kind of wondering, what if, asked Sam to help and gave Sam a hopeless pleading look. She stood the glass down and yelled at the guy to get out of the bar. Go home before your son comes in here looking for you again. The man frowned but stood up and then left. The path wasn't uneven but managed to stay upright. I must have thanked Sam, who only returned it with a curt nod. Okay, well, it wasn't really that much different, so I'm just gonna keep to what I was doing. Time for bed. Alright. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. It was just another day in the greenhouse. Danced along to Jude's music. What? Same old, same old. Work was over, had time to kill. Library. Hey, Micah! When I walked to the library, I saw Micah pondering a display at the table. Hey, Micah. Ashlyn, how wonderful to run into you here. Perhaps you could help me make a decision. Oh, yeah? Do you have any recommendations? I want to read something a bit moody, maybe even dark. I glanced over at the shelves. Just a horror novel, just a drama novel. Horror. I recommend Pinewood Island. Thanks for the assistance. If you ever need a reading suggestion from me, I would be happy to reciprocate. Sure. So what are you in the mood to read? I just gave horror, so I'll just do fantasy. Then I suggest Carbons. Do come here often. I really wish they were able to expand their selection. Sometimes, though I know what you mean. Excuse me, I should get going. It was nice seeing you. He backed up and almost ran to a shelf. He reached out to study it, gave me another smile, and walked over to Trevor to borrow the book I'd suggested. Nice. Once I'd made my own selection, I headed home. It was good to see him for fucking once. Getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Okay, now I do have some level. I thought I had it before, but I guess it went down. Just as I finished getting dressed, there was a buzz letting me know that someone was at the door. I opened it and saw Jude. Let's save. Week 7, day 6. So we've been here for almost 2 months now. Hey. I stepped aside to let him in, slightly relieved that he didn't have any contraband on him. At least I didn't see any. I was just, I cleared my throat, suddenly embarrassed to admit that I had been planning to seek him out when he beat me to it. I tried to cover my drop in conversation, but Jude didn't seem to notice. They're showing a movie today. You haven't seen one, have you? Movie? I knew what they were. I just hadn't realized Camden had access to such luxuries. Yeah, they've got 3 films intact enough to show. Wanna go? Wow, 3 of them? What are they like? An old romance with a big ship, Titanic, space battle with aliens, maybe Star Wars, some scary nonsense with clowns. Any of those sound particularly interesting with you? I thought about it, but Jude's description didn't give me a whole lot to go on. Jude poked around at the stuff on my kitchen counter and said nothing. Maybe he was still a bit sleepy. Which movie sounded the most interesting? I don't know, like, it isn't a movie. Well, it is now, but I don't think it was when this game was made. Maybe this is obviously Titanic. This might be Star Wars. Scary clowns. I don't know. There's like killer clowns. Let's save. Let's save, and then we'll pick a. We'll go see a Star Wars. Fighting aliens. That sounds interesting. Jude nodded. I hope that's the one. I don't really get tired of it. We don't know what they're showing until we go. So wanna? Yeah, of course. Jude tucked his hands in his pockets and grinned at me. He turned as if to leave, so I followed him. A lot of people were heading towards the community center, and when we got there, I saw the lights had been dimmed and a large white sheet had been hung up as a screen. Jude placed a hand on my lower back and led me to the furthest corner of the place. It wasn't as easy to see the screen, but there was less people. I don't get anxious when there are a lot of people close by. You notice? During the town hall meetings, you always sit at the very back. He shrugged and sat down, so I sat beside him. He'd noticed. It wasn't a big fear or anything. I was just more comfortable with a bit more space. I still wasn't used to so many people being so close to me all the time. I glanced around, and then an announcement was made that the lights would soon be put out for the movie. Jude nudged me and placed something small and round into my hand. Strawberries. Shh. I bit my lip and tried not to chuckle too loudly. Of course he'd snuck produce into the community center for this. I shook my head, but nibbled on the tart red fruit. The lights grew darker, and the screen lit up. A scratchy noise exploded out of the speakers, and some warped text displayed on the sheet. The movie was loud and confusing, but fun to watch. I'm glad I sat in the back with Jude. He had brought pockets full of fruit for us to snack on. Things started to quiet down, and 2 of the aliens were talking about something seriously. The audio and visual had been compromised somewhat, but I could still be made out if I focused. I tried to focus, but a hand touched my chin. I turned to see Jude. His hand moved from my chin to my lower lip. He brushed against my skin, and then showed me the small strawberry leaf that had been on my face. For a moment, I forgot the movie, despite looking back towards it as Jude did. Jude always seemed so relaxed, yet he had marks on his wrist from the rubber bands, and I knew he was prone to drinking when he was upset. Hopefully I could learn more about him. The movie was strange, and I found it hard to pay attention once I got distracted from the story. Jude seemed to be enjoying it, though, and there were parts that made me laugh. When it was over, the lights returned, and Jude nudged me. So? What? Your thoughts, come on. Oh, he wanted to know what I thought about the movie. It was great. It was amazing. All the explosions. Jude frowned. I think he picked up on my lie. I forced a smile, but he didn't say anything. I didn't know that she was lying. Sometimes they tell me to choose things and I'm like, sure, whatever. It was okay. It wasn't bad or anything, but I think I prefer books. He smirked at me. At least you're honest. Maybe you like one of the other movies better. The company was nice. We got up and entered the river of people who were exiting the community center. It was late, so I headed home while giving Jude a friendly wave. He watched me for a moment, making me a little nervous. When he finally seemed to be done studying me, he turned and we went our separate ways. It was getting late, and I was tired. Time for bed. Well, Mom woke me up for yet another important community meeting thing. Before I could protest, she handed me a cup of coffee and moved so I could attempt to wake up. Last week was the Winter Festival, and I had spent it with Jude. I smiled into the coffee, but tried to focus on waking up and getting ready. I glanced up at Mom, who was happily humming. I now knew, without a doubt, there was no stopping whatever was going on between my mom and the mayor, so I just mentally wished her luck, I guess. Ever since coming here, we only seemed to grow further and further apart, but that might be a good thing. I didn't need to fret over her here as I used to. We arrived at the community center, and I couldn't help but overhear a lot of talk about the recent water issues. It only occurred once, but it hadn't lasted long, but it was enough to put people into a panic. Mom left to assist the mayor, so I started to look around the room and saw the familiar faces. Sam, Trevor, and Brian, Iris, Vince, and Tabby. Ooh. I haven't talked with Iris in a while. I don't think I want to talk to her specifically here. Out of all of them, I do like Sam a lot. It's gonna be one of these two. Personally, I think I like Trevor and Brian a bit better. I settled up Trevor, unsurprisingly accompanied by Brian. Trevor only nodded to acknowledge my existence. What do you suppose he'll say about what happened with the water? Why would he bother to say anything? It's not like it wasn't handled quickly. Sure, but people are talking about it. It seemed like more of an annoyance than anything else. I wasn't affected. The greenhouse suffered. How would you know? We couldn't find you. Because I was trying to find out what had happened. I knew you and Jude would have it all worked out. It's over. Why bring it up now? Brian shrugged. Maybe you're right. Guess we're about to find out. The mayor walked up on a stage and we all felt quiet. The mayor tapped on the mic gently and then cleared his throat to speak. It was a lot of the same. First, he spoke about the Winter Festival. He'd gotten a lot of good feedback on it and was looking forward to more events like it in the future. He was excited to go over upcoming news, schedule changes, and mentioned the various lots that could use donations. Cloth, specifically. Not once did he speak of the disaster on the surface. It'd been weeks. Did we still have no news? He didn't mention the water issues either. Maybe it wasn't that big of a deal after all. Once it was over, he left the stage and joined my mother. As I left, I heard some people muttering about the water and the surface, but most of the people seemed to be talking about the Winter Festival. Distracted. I had some time to do something before the date was over. Hold on, I'm gonna... Wait. The last thing we did was... Oh, I forget. I think it was... the library? Oh, I don't remember. Or was it Icarus? No, it was Icarus. Because we had the drunk guy. I'm actually going to try. I'm curious to see what happens if we go to Sam. Sam was sitting with her arms crossed, looking more annoyed than usual. I joined her, but she didn't stop fuming. I wasn't sure she noticed until she started to speak. I want to find out about the water nonsense earlier. Yeah. Do you have any idea how hard it is to wash dishes with no water? No. It fucked up my whole day. That's awful. At least it didn't last long. Yeah, I really shouldn't be so pissed off. It's the only interruption to the water we've ever had down here. Think about how scarce it is on the surface. Kind of makes sense when what happened, but a bit more alarming though, doesn't it? Sam shivered and nodded at me. It was getting easier and easier to get used to these luxuries. We shared a quiet moment and tried to wrap my head around these thoughts. Getting used to this life couldn't be a bad thing. That's why Mom and I came here. Thought of losing it all again was more than unsettling. The mayor tapped on the mic. Okay, so we don't really learn that much more, just more complaining. Let's load and go back here. A few things I could do. We're going to actually save. Again, what happens if we just check out a book? What book did I want to borrow today? There were a lot to pick from. We'll try comedy. Tales of Jerks in Love. Oh no, that's lame. Yeah, we always have to... Let's just see what Trevor's up to. It's way better to just see what people are doing, man. I walked in and saw Trevor and Brian sitting quietly. Trevor was reading his post, and Brian looked completely bored. He perked up when he saw me. Ashlyn, what brings you here today? Books? I headed up to the desk, and Trevor looked up from his book. Do I look like a book to you? Oh, you do! Oh no, you've been working here for so long, you've mutating! I feel like Ashlyn would be an ignore him kind of thing. I would play along personally. I just thought I'd have her say hi, Trevor. Hi. I guess you don't look like a book. I sensed some building tension behind those looks, so I decided to make my exit. What happens if I play along? It's probably like lame. Oh, Brian, I think you're right. I can see words start to form in his forehead. Trevor groaned and pinched the bridge of his nose. Clearly done with the both of us. I guess you don't look like a book. Okay, so it's the same thing. Yeah, I'll just ignore him. I'll just go and pick out a book. And so, okay, we'll play comedy again. Jerks in love, leave Trevor and Brian to their flirting. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Just another day in the greenhouse, refilled water tanks and took notes on inventory. Same old, same old. Work was over and I had some time to kill. We just went to the library, go to the gym. When I walked in, I saw Mom and Rick studying some of the exercise equipment. Oof. Ashlyn! Mom waved at me and the mayor shot me a friendly nod. Hey, Mom. Are you guys working? Yeah, we are assessing the quality of our fitness facilities. She could barely keep a straight face as she spoke. I don't sound like that when I speak. Mom shrugged in that playful way I've seen her do hundreds of times. Oh, wait. Mind if I take a moment with my daughter? Of course not. I swear that man will micromanage his own funeral. I laughed, but she said it with an affectionate smile which put me a bit on edge. I'm glad you're having fun at your job. She waved her hand. Oh, it's nothing. All I have to do is keep him from working too much. When he does that, he gets forgetful, same as anyone. I guess I'll let you get back to him. Mom gave me a big hug and kissed me on top of my head. All right, you have fun. I gave it a feeble attempt, but I couldn't focus on exercise when my mom was here working or flirting with the mayor. I gave her a wave goodbye and went home. Well, it's getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Things were really getting back to normal, though Jude was watching the water input like an obsessed person. He probably would continue to do so until the backs were replenished. Brian had snuck out to see Trevor again, but he'd managed to do a few tasks that Jude expected him to do, so it wasn't that huge a deal. Work felt oddly calm after the panic of the water loss and all the tension in the community. I sighed and stuck a grape off a vine while I checked the pH balance of their water supply. It was juicy and tasted a bit sour. They're mainly used to make wine and juice amongst other things. I liked the way they smelled though. I enjoyed the sweet scent of all the fruit that grew here. I carried on until it was time to go home. Work was over and I had some time to kill Icarus. Nothing particularly interesting was going on in Icarus today. There were a few things I could do. Hang out with Sam. Icarus was extra lively tonight, and Sam seemed to be enjoying the crowd. I found an empty spot to sit and watch people. After some time, I wondered if I should offer to lend Sam a hand. I wish there was a place where I could see, like... Wait. Oh, okay. Oh, look at all the endings. I've never looked at that. Jesus Christ. I know these are different endings depending on, like, things we choose and also whether or not we pick to open the doors or whatever. Let's, save. Yeah, I was hoping there was a place to see, like, the kind of, the affection levels. Just to be like, where are we with that? I don't know, like, why even have this? Just put that. It's just, I don't know. Let's see if Sam needs help. It's always more interesting if we actually ask somebody what's up. I walked over and she spotted me, seemed to understand my intentions, and waved me off. I sat back down at the bar, and after some time, she headed over to talk to me. I've dealt with worse, just sit. You seem to prefer this. She smiled, but just shrugged. It's better than having no one here. That's fair. She left to get back to work, and I sat back and watched her. She handled all the chaos with ease, and I couldn't help but feel a little jealous. I'd be a wreck if I was in her shoes. Just thinking about it was stressing me out. I was getting tired, time for bed. Okay, a little stressed, but it's still okay. Like, I mean, I guess I would reduce it if I just picked the just relax kind of things, but I don't know. Got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Just another day, clean filters, same old. Work was over and had some time to kill. Library. Oh, Eva. We rarely see her in plain clothes. Walked to the library and saw Eva going over the staff favorites shelf. Ashlyn! Hi, Eva. I don't think I've ever bumped into you here. Haven't. Eva shrugged. I'm not a huge reader. So what are you here to get? Just something to read. Whatever catches my eye. It's not like there are a ton of things to do down here when you're not working. That is true, but Icarus is pretty fun, you know. I suppose. It's a little crazy there sometimes. I prefer the quiet library. Right. I should get going. See ya. Oh, that's it. Eva left and I glanced over to see Trevor. He was resting his chin in his hand and seemed to be staring off into space. It almost seemed like he got sad whenever Brian wasn't around, bugging him. He marked down my book without making eye contact, so I left. Damn. It's getting late and was tired. Time for bed. I'm kind of curious, like, I thought Is It was the less social option than, like, I suppose. Because, like, I suppose it's like, yeah, sure. And, like, Is It is just like, is it though? But neither seems to work. Maybe it only does something if I have, like, a certain level of affection already there. I don't know. Yeah, didn't really improve anything. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Oh, Tabby's here. I walked in to see a very excited Tabby practically running circles around Brian. Her questions were fired off so quickly I don't think he was even trying to keep up. So many colors! Are you supposed to be taking notes or something? Jude walked in just behind me to join us. Jude! Wonderful. Tabby, if you want to see out this place. Come on, I'll show you around. Brian backed away slowly, but Tabby was more than happy to follow Jude. Ashlyn, are you coming? I have work to do, but I'm sure you'll learn a lot from Jude. I grabbed my checklist for the day as Brian slunk into his office and closed the door. As soon as I had taken a few steps away, I saw him sneak right out the door. I sighed and mentally wished Trevor luck. Tabby happily followed Jude, though she appeared to be lost in her own thoughts while admiring the plants. Work was over and I had some time to kill. I just went to the library, so I guess it's gym time. Nothing particularly interesting was going on in gym today. A few things I could do. Hang out with Tabby. Tabby was sitting in the corner with her face buried in her arms. She hadn't brought any of her books or toys. Hey. Everything all right? I wondered if she was feeling upset about that protest. Okay, we're gonna... I don't know Tabby enough to know whether or not talking to her is a good idea. I should cheer her up. So, wanna sneak into the greenhouse? Really? Even though she was just there, this is kind of like a weird time to do this. Her voice was a little shaky, but she probably didn't want me to interrogate her about it. I figured out a good way to sneak you in. Wanna come? Tabby looked up at me and her eyes were puffy and red. She nodded and stood up. When she thought I wasn't looking, she rubbed her eyes. I led her towards the side entrance to the greenhouse that tended to be left unlocked. It was the door Brian liked to sneak in and out of to avoid Jude's anger. We crept through the hallways like thieves, despite having done nothing illegal yet. When we got to the unlocked door, I glanced around until I knew we were alone. What do we do if we get caught? I'll tell him you're my assistant. I think we'll be fine as long as our pockets aren't full of stolen produce. She smirked and nodded, so I opened the door and peeked inside. I led Tabby inside the greenhouse and managed to avoid being seen by anyone. I showed her the coolest areas and even let her sneak a strawberry. When we made a quick exit before we were caught and head back to the gym. That was awesome! Right? Thanks, Ashlyn. I'm gonna head home before Dad starts to worry about me. Want me to walk you there? No! I'm not a baby. Alright. Just be safe. Is it really dangerous on the surface? Her face looked sad and she was searching my face for answers. Her whole tone had changed. It's dangerous, but you don't have to worry about that. You live in Camden. I guess. Alright, see you later. Okay. I mean, I don't know if that was the best way to answer, to be like, just don't think about that. I don't know. Went home. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Well, I don't know what she was crying out about, so probably it's good to just be chill about it, maybe. Okay. Still, stressed out a little bit more. Why? I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. It was just another day in the greenhouse. I made sure Brian was doing what he was supposed to and helped Jude get everything else done. Same old, same old. Work was over and I had some time to kill. Okay, so let's go to Icarus. I want to know... When I walked in, I was immediately hailed by Brian. Whoops. I was gonna say, like, let's try not doing something and seeing if it lowers my stress levels, but... Ashlyn, have a drink with me. I walked over and looked around, but didn't see a trace of Trevor. Where? So, how are you adjusting to life underground? Oh, fine, I guess. The surface is a harsh place. He picked up a glass with clear liquid and swirled it around for a moment before taking a careful drink. Yeah. Camden's oasis, right? Sanctuary. His words were a bit slurred. How much have you had to drink? The library is a nice place. I nodded. He wasn't really listening to me. Okay, if I do the more boring one, does my stress go down? Is my answer. Come on, Brian, why don't I help you home? He laughed and shook me by the shoulder. Ashlyn, this is my home now. I live here. I nodded and began to coax him out of the bar. Getting tired, time for bed. No, well, that didn't really help my stress levels, so let's let him talk. The library with the books, you know. It shouldn't be so dusty in there. It's not, though. I nodded and he continued. Trevor dusts it, you know. He dusts it. He doesn't like people, but he likes books. Sometimes I don't like people either, you know. You know? I nodded and he seemed satisfied by my reaction and continued. I like Trevor, though. He nodded and laughed. Time to go. Aw, Sam. Time to go. Brian deflated and left under Sam's glare. He doesn't come here often, but I swear. She rolled her eyes and walked away, leaving me with so many questions. Brian was a strange drunk. It was getting late and tired. Yeah. Had a free day, so I decided if I go find Jude anywhere. Let's... I searched a few places but didn't see him anywhere. When I checked the bar, I asked Sam and she told me to go to the greenhouses. I didn't want to head to work on my day off, so then why would Jude be there? I opened the doors and was hit by the humidity. I grimaced and glanced around. I opened the doors and heard his familiar music. Before that, though, I noticed some intense humidity. It wasn't like this just the other day. I didn't have to search hard. I only had to follow the colorful string of curses coming from a corner of the greenhouse. Jude? There was a bang against metal and then another loud curse. Ashlyn, what are you doing here? He came out from behind several pipes and a panel that had been removed, covered in more grime than usual. He wiped sweat off his forehead and only smeared the oil there. I was looking for you. I didn't realize you would be busy. I can go. No, I just finished, I think. The ventilation system went out. I could have waited for maintenance, but didn't feel like it. That's why it's so awful in here? He nodded and grabbed a rag that was hanging on a pipe. He wiped his hands, but was missing out on a fairly large smear of oil on his cheek. Here, you, I motioned towards the grit on his face, and he handed me the rag. I gently wiped it off for him. I need to shower. I nodded. He did. You know how to fix everything in here? Jude smirked and took the rag from me. He tossed it back at the pipe, but it fell and he left it on the floor. He rolled his shoulders as he spoke. Just about. It's faster if I do things myself. I guess I'll let you get home so you can shower and stuff. Jude looked down at his hands and clothes. Yeah, I'll see you later. I left him with an awkward wave and made my way back out into the halls. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. I rolled over and saw Mom already up and dressed. She sat at the table and was reading over something. Is it time to go already? Not quite, but soon. What are you reading? Just some notes, nothing that important. I'm just trying to wake myself up. She turned and gave me a small smile. Something was bothering her, but I knew if I asked, she would deny it. I got out of bed and I got ready. I sat with her and we ate some fruit before leaving. I grabbed a cup of coffee and sat towards the back of the room. I kept an eye out for Jude and tried to keep the seat beside me open, just in case. The mayor walked up onto the stage and I leaned back in my chair. Let the fancy speeches edited by my mother begin. Before he could step up to the podium, however, everything went black. I sat up and looked around. Everyone began to speak, shout, and question. Why'd the lights gone off? I heard a few voices shout to remain seated, so I did, but the speakers crackled and I expected the intercom to tell us what happened. I didn't recognize the voice that spoke out at the speakers, though. What must we do to make the mayor listen? I have family up there. I know I'm not the only one. Tell the mayor to open the doors. Help us make him listen. We refuse to live in luxury while our families starve and suffer on the surface. Join us or put your own comfort before the lives of children. Your choice. People were still angry. I was still angry. I thought everyone else was moving on, though. I had no idea people would go this far. I felt someone sit beside me in the dark. My eyes were starting to adjust so I could make up that it was Jude. Hey. Jude, hey, can you believe this? He scoffed. They better have only cut power to this room. I swear, I don't want to check on the greenhouse, but it's not like Brian will. Could they really have shut it all down everywhere? Not easily, and trust me when I say that. I bit my lip to keep from grinning. Come on, the mayor's office? You haven't gotten in there. Jude leaned back and crossed his arms. It was dark, but I could sense a smirk on his face. No, and you can't prove otherwise. Sam would kill you if she knew. Yeah. So do you think this will be over soon? I was hoping to get a nap in today. I don't know. It's dark here. I suppose you could sleep now if you wanted. I'd rather talk to you than sleep. He leaned his leg against mine casually and whispered softly. Take that as a compliment. I love to sleep. He chuckled and I laughed. I've been pretty tense when the lights gone out, but now I almost wish they wouldn't come back on. Jude sat up and then rested his arm on the back of my chair. So close. So you think you'll check out on the greenhouse after this? Yeah, gotta make sure that nothing was reset and nothing burnt out. Do you want me to help? Nah, no reason to put both of us out of our way. Well, I hope it's all fine. Me too. Some of those plants can be pretty delicate. The light suddenly blinked on. I had to rub my eyes, but ultimately I was relieved. When I could see again, I saw the mayor walk back up to the stage. Someone in a security uniform was speaking to him quietly, while he nodded. Then he faced the room and finally quiet fell in the crowd. What would he say now? The one who illegally hijacked the intercom system has been caught and will be dealt with, as will all who continue to disrupt the peace in Camden. I was a bit startled by the threat. I glanced around and I wasn't the only one. He seemed to pick up on the unease because I saw him take a breath. The safety of every single one of you is my top priority, and always will be. Anyone who threatens you, my citizens, will have to answer to me. We will not be threatened or put in danger because of some outliers and their dangerous lies. He gripped the podium and glanced briefly at my mother. She nodded. I have made several attempts to contact the surface and to learn of the town's fate. They had all been met with silence. I had originally planned to discuss this with interested parties individually and privately, but it would seem I have no choice. Yeah, you gotta make the public thing. I have a plan in place to check on things, but it must be done carefully. There are reports of Sandman gangs moving into the area, and we have to be safe. I felt my chest tighten. Sandman. Close. That made things so much more complicated, but it made sense. They would want to take advantage of the wreckage to see what they could extract from it. Who they could extract from it. It was brief, but I caught my mother and the mayor exchanged looks. It dawned on me that she had known. Of course she would know all this insider information. It shocked me a bit that she would keep it from me. I tried not to feel a bit betrayed, but ever since we came down here, we'd grown apart. It was never clear to me then it was now. I said a hasty goodbye to Jude and then got out of there. I needed to go home and to think. I crawled into bed and hugged a book to my chest. My mind was buzzing and I considered trying to read and forget everything. Things were starting to change. I couldn't be sure how, but with the unrest in Camden and my mother's close ties with the mayor, everything was getting increasingly complicated. I didn't support what the mayor had done or how he handled it afterwards. This was all a big disaster and I wasn't the only one to feel that way. There were others out there, willing to take him on. I groaned and covered my face. For my own sake, I had to try to take all of this slowly. Just one small thing at a time. Right now, I needed to try to calm down. Everything else could wait. I didn't have the energy to leave, so I just sat around until I was finally able to concentrate on the book in my hand. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Alright. I'm surprised the stress didn't really go up another level. Got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Damn, Monday. It's just another day. Organize reports, check the water tank, same. Work was over and I had some time to kill. What did I do last time? I think I went to Icarus and saw Brian be drunk. I walked into the library and observed the typical scene of Trevor and Brian at the counter. Trevor pretending to be busy and Brian loitering. I thought about what kind of book to get. So let's do a save. Get someone new. I don't think I've tried romance yet. Grabbed Checkers of Daggers and brought it up to Trevor. Ashlyn, your mom's favorite book is overdue. What? She needs to bring it back or she'll have to pay a fee. A fee? Books go missing sometimes. A fee helps encourage people to return them when they're done. It's a week overdue. Not a huge deal, really. Maybe just bring it in for her next time you stop by. I looked between them. I was starting to feel really irritated. Why are they bothering me about my mom's overdue book anyway? Well, yeah. I gave up. Who else would keep track of her books but me? Yeah, it makes sense. What if she lost it or something? That would be bad. Try to bring her back. Okay. It's not like she'll be exiled or anything. It's only a few beads. Brian shrugged. She hardly ever comes in. Just tell her. Otherwise I have to send an official notice and it's a pain in the ass. Alright, got it. Trevor made a weird grunt noise that I assumed was a good sign. I really hoped Mom hadn't lost that book. I made my way back home. Why had my mom been to the library to return the book? She'd been gone a lot of evenings, probably just working late, making out with the mayor. Though honestly, it just shows that, like, whenever people try to keep you from getting like fees or notices under the table, that's how you know you're kind of friends, because like they don't want to see you deal with the official shit, because it's, one, a pain in the ass, two, it's like too much. So it's a good sign. It's getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Oh, my standing is higher. Huh. I got up and headed to grab coffee before work. Jude was still on edge. Despite the power outage not reaching the greenhouse, he was fretting over everything. He barked orders at Brian, and despite their official positions, Brian obeyed. He seemed obsessed and desperate to prevent any possible damage to more widespread power outage would cause. When things were finally winding down, I saw Jude leaning over a counter, eyes closed and gripping the edges tightly. I approached him slowly and tried to think of something to say. His whole body looked tense. Hey, Ashlyn. Is everything alright? I know I've been an ass. Did the power outage really worry you that much? I don't know. I don't really know. The greenhouse is really important, you know? He sighed and relaxed a bit, turning to face me. It is. I agree with you. He smirked and shook his head. I think I'm gonna head home and try to relax. Thanks for putting up with me, Ashlyn. I'm not putting up with you. Go get some rest. I'll see you soon, okay? Tried to smile, but his expression didn't soften much. He gave me a friendly pat on the shoulder and then left. Hopefully he gets some rest and be able to relax. Damn. Work was over. Gym. Nothing particularly interesting was going on in the gym today. Hang out with Tabby. I sat next to Tabby and she handed me an old workbook. Oh, math time. I brought some paper so you could practice. Just read the directions and I'll help you if you get stuck. Geometry? Geometry. You'll learn some basic formulas concerning shapes. Wow, okay. I went through the very tiring process of wrapping my head around this fancy math. I wasn't completely sure how this would ever help me unless I needed to build giant triangles or measure shadows. I was starting to think that Tabby was really lonely. I never saw her with kids her own age, and there were a few here. In fact, I never saw her with anyone except her dad. It made me think of me and Mom. On the surface, I had really kept my distance. Other people were dangerous. She's growing up in a safe place, though. I wanted to ask her what was up, and last time I saw her in the gym, she looked really upset, but I didn't want to bring it up in case it upset her again. Eventually, she'll tell me if she wants to. No point in trying to force her. I wasn't her big sister or Mom. After a while, Tabby left to go home, so I went back home too. Maybe I could ask Mom what she thought about it later. It was getting late and I was tired. Yeah. Okay, more friends with Tabby. I got up and headed out to grab coffee before work. Just another day, dance line, column post, same old. Work was over, had some time to kill. Icarus. The bar was busier than I had yet to see it. Music was turned up and the noise of it fell on me. I took an empty seat and tried to decide if I wanted to bother staying or not. The sounds of conversation floated around the room until one caught my attention. A couple sitting beside me were poorly whispering to each other. They seemed to be plotting something, I just wasn't sure what. Whatever it was sounded like trouble. They were discussing escape plans and alibis. I didn't want to hear anymore, so I walked towards the bar to order a drink and saw Vince. Should I tell him about the suspicious things I overheard the couple talking about? They were clearly drunk, so it could be nothing. No, I'm not going to be a narc. Let's save this here just out of curiosity, but I'm pretty, like, mind your own business. I ordered a drink and kept to myself. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Alright. Oh, my standing went down. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. It's just another day at work. Brian napping in his office. Jude hard at work with me helping. We spent the day taking some of the excessive produce and sending it to be preserved. The fruits would be turned into a sweet spread, juice, loaves, and so on. The vegetables are pickled or baked into things by the kitchen. When it was only me and Judy said I could take home some stuff that I wanted. You get to see any food go to waste. Very important. If you don't take it and it isn't used, it goes into the compost. So it's really okay? Not technically legal, but we have plenty of compost and I don't like this stuff to go to waste. People are starving on the surface. I'm not throwing up perfectly good food. He made a face, but didn't say anything else about it. Take some fruits and veggies. I took what I'd be able to eat or cook in the next few days. We still had a lot of work to do, so with that settled, I got back to it. Work was over and I had some time to kill. We just went to Icarus, so we'll go to the library. Nothing particularly interesting. We're going to save again. See what Trevor was up to. Hey, Brian's here. Trevor was out walking along the shelves with the books in his hands, murmuring under his breath while Brian watched him. Brian stood there with a ridiculous grin on his face and seemed quite content. What you reading? I saddled up next to Brian and he leaned on the counter as he was. I'm trying to parse this language. It looks like English, reads like English, yet it's overly poetic. Shakespeare? He nodded and held up the book to me. It was worn and stained copy of sonnets. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. It is a poem about loving someone as they are, without the idealistic. Maybe it was just being funny and insulting? It's hard to say, but... And yet, by heaven, I think my love is as rare as any she belied with false compare. We don't know much about him, so I can't really say what his initial intent was. Does his intent matter? He's long dead. It's what we do with this work now that matters. Big artistic debate going on here casually. How can you say that? You're going to strip the writing away from the author just because you can't guess at its true meaning? He could have been talking about a pet for all we know. Trevor rolled his eyes and I stifled a laugh. Why do I try to have these conversations with you? Brian only shrugged. Trevor glanced at the text one last time, then shut the book and went back to his desk. Can I see it? Trevor handed it over. The pages felt so thin and delicate. I turned to the sonnet, only marked as Sonnet 130, and read through it. It does seem rather harsh. That isn't the point. He snatched the book back and huffed with frustration. The point is real love, not the idealistic fake stuff. But forget it. I'm not talking about it anymore. With either of you. Brian leaned on the desk and placed his chin in his hands, looking at Trevor with mischief. Then how will we learn? Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful. I know the context of that quote, you know. Brian grinned and Trevor turned away, but looked utterly conflicted. Does the context matter? Well, just thought I'd chat for a bit. Guess I better get going. Right. See you later, Ashlyn. Oh, I actually had, like, a bit of a greeting. I almost stumbled a bit as I walked out. He spoke gently, almost like a friend. Was I finally cracking through that grumpy shell of his? Yay! Trevor friend. I was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Yes! 4 level. That's the highest relationship level I have of anybody, even Jude. And I'm trying so hard for Jude. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Just another day in the greenhouse. Filled water tanks, took an inventory, same old, same old. Work was over and it's some time to kill. Let's save again. Gym. I walked into the gym and saw that the place was a bit trashed. Everything was out of place and there was trash littered about. I sighed and shook my head. Clean it up. I can leave it like this. So I started to straighten the place up as much as I could. By the time I was done, I was too tired to work out, so I went home. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Yeah, well, my standing went back up. I didn't manage to try the thing where I, like, don't do anything to reduce stress, but eh. I left and headed out to look for Jude. I found him at the bar. He was staring intently at his glass while Sam was serving customers nearby. Icarus was as busy as he usually was, but there was a seat open beside Jude, so I took it. He didn't even look at me before sighing and leaning over to place his head on my shoulder. He set down his drink. Ashlyn, I'm so tired. And drunk, I see. He tried to nod, but he was still leaning on me, so it was a bit jerky. Sam approached us looking more tired than grumpy for once. Can you take him home, Ashlyn? I'm going to bed here late, and if he passes out at the bar, he's going to be stuck sleeping on the floor. Aw, Sam. The floor here is so uncomfortable. Right, Jude. Come on. Thanks, Ashlyn. I wish you could carry me. You can lean on me, okay? I slid off the stool and helped Jude on his feet. Sam gave me a grateful nod and then I started to lead Jude out. He leaned on me heavily and it was difficult to get him to walk straight. Once we got to the hallway, the silence swallowed us. Jude seemed to sigh in relief. He straightened and looked like he was trying to pretend to be sober. He still walked a little wobbly, but it would be easier to get him home without him trying to put his weight on me. I'm surprised Sam lets you drink so much. She was distracted. I'll go to lecture tomorrow. Why did you drink so much? Jude shrugged and watched his feet as we walked. Ashlyn, do you ever feel bad about the people still up there, if they're even alive? Yeah, but I feel like there's nothing I could do about it. Jude didn't say anything else, so I dropped the subject. It wasn't a great one anyway. He started to stand up straighter and snapped the rubber band on his wrist. I winced. That had to hurt. I looked at him questioningly, but he didn't seem to notice. I think I can make it from here. By yourself? Yeah. I felt a little hurt, but he tried to hide it. He did look considerably more sober than when he left. Are you sure? Jude glanced at me and I stopped snapping the rubber bands. He took a step closer to me and I stepped back before I could stop myself. It was just so sudden. He placed his hands on my cheeks, nodding slightly. I think you're very pretty. Thanks. Jude nodded and then backed up, releasing me. He didn't wait for me to say anything else. He just continued to stumble down the hallway without me. I wondered if I should follow him, but I didn't think I should. At least he was walking relatively straight now. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Alright, still nothing's really improving. I'm not sure if I'm actually making the right decisions or not, now that I see them. Another dull town hall meeting. I glanced at Mom, who was paging through a stack of papers. Hey, any idea what the meeting is about today? She paused and looked over at me, a small smile on her face. Why would you think I had any idea what it was about? Aren't those his speech notes you're messing with? She chuckled and set the papers aside. I knew she knew more about the inner workings in Camden than she was letting on, and did she really think I was so clueless? Things have gone missing. Small things, not too worrisome. Of course that's me talking. If you could hear Rick, you'd think the roof was caving in on us. I bet. You guys are so close now. About that. She paused and turned to face me more fully. I got out of bed and stretched, watching her and waiting for whatever bomb she was planning to drop on me. Rick and I... You have probably noticed that we've become very close, so this is good news for you, really. You having a boyfriend is good news for me. I'm going to be moving in with him this weekend, which means you get the whole place to yourself. She held her arms out to our small home and gave me a large, strained smile. She was worried about how I would react, wasn't she? I'd say I'm worried about her, like, because that seems like the thing that Ashlyn would actually do. Like, I'm not going to be like, yeah, get out of here. But, yeah, I think it's slightly weird. Are you sure this is what you want? You don't think it's too fast or a little dangerous? I don't want to add that, though. Ashlyn, you aren't worried about your mother, aren't you? Why was so wrong about being worried about your mother? She smiled at me and shook her finger at me. As if I haven't given this a ton of thought. Give me some credit, darling. I shrugged. She clearly made up her mind. No use trying to fight her on it. All right. She came over and kissed me on the forehead. I decided to just let it go, and we continued to get ready to leave. I entered the community center and glanced around for an empty place to sit. Mom was already at Rick's side. I tried to imagine what it would be like to have the tiny home all to yourself, and it was a bit unreal. It could be rather nice, or lonely. Either way, Mom was leaving tonight, so no matter how I felt about it, I suppose I could be a good daughter and help, or at least make sure she didn't forget anything important. And that's where I get to make out with the love interest, probably. I sat towards the back as usual and tried to come to terms with Mom's news. I glanced up at the usual mic checks were taking place and the usual faces. I could wave someone over. One choice. I wonder if this would have multiple things depending on who I'm actually, like, courting at the time. But, like, there's no use saving. There's one choice. Juice sat down beside me before me and she saw it in the cluster of people. He moved so quietly. This is dumb. I'm tired. No coffee? No coffee. I nodded my sympathies. We could grab a cup after the meeting, maybe. Jude placed an arm around me and leaned his head against mine. You could almost sleep like this if you held really, really still. Why are you so tired? So wasn't used to his casual attitude about physical affection. I didn't mind, though. Yeah, he just got really close all of the sudden. I guess not all of the sudden, but, like... Yeah, I don't know. Sam's been in a really bad mood. I've been trying to help her out more, you know? It doesn't seem to make any difference, though. Why do you think she's upset? No idea. If she doesn't tell me, then your guess is as good as mine. I sighed and tried not to look disappointed when Jude leaned away slightly. Mom's moving in with the mayor tonight. Jude jerked in surprise and looked at me. You happy about it or mad? I guess I'm a lot of things. It's hard to explain exactly. It's not my choice though, you know? Right. Well, I guess this does make your place a better hideout in case... Damn it, Jude! He laughed and pressed his forehead against mine, resting his palm against the back of my neck. I'm only kidding. Mostly. Probably. He moved away and the meeting began. He rolled his eyes and leaned back in his chair. Good afternoon, everyone. We don't have a lot of news to report. There has been no incidents since the power outage last week, and the one responsible has been caught. I want to put everyone at ease and remind you all that the happier times are coming. In 2 weeks, we celebrate Summer's End, a special occasion to spend the time with our loved ones. It was a holiday I was somewhat familiar with. We celebrated on the surface. It was the longest night of the year, or at one time it might have been. It was really hard to tell now. Still, a tradition was a tradition. For those of you new to Camden, you'll be delighted to hear about the festive activities we have to offer here in the community center during the celebration. I look forward to seeing everyone participate. He continued to ramble on, but I started to get lost in daydreams. What would the festival be like down here? On the surface, me and Mom would exchange gifts, but then head out downtown and it was safe. Everyone would just sort of hang out and party all day. Lots of people sold special wares that were only available on that day. The thought had a bitter edge to it. I doubted anyone on the surface was planning to celebrate this time around, even if they were alive. Hopefully we could get some more good news, and soon. The meeting wrapped up and I headed home. I need to get that place ready for one less occupants. I stood and looked around the place as Mom packed up her things. There really wasn't a lot to take. A buzz at the door caught her attention and Mom was quick to open it. Evening, ladies. I wanted to offer my assistance, Camilla. Of course. I hardly have anything to bring at this point. She shrugged and glanced around the room. She had 2 tubs with clothes and things. I had started to stack up her books so they could rest on top of one of the tubs. How kind of you to help your mother, Ashlyn. I hope you know that you're welcome in my home at any time. I nodded and forced a smile. I'm not sure how we went from nobodies to being so close to the mayor, but I guess I had Mom to thank for that. Also, like, why is he dating her mom and doesn't get to know the daughter? That's, like, you know, first things first. Family's important. I don't know. You'll have your very own place, Ashlyn. Mom stopped and glanced around the room, then looked down at me and gave me a sad smile. She gave me a quick, firm hug, and then we said our goodbyes. Then she was gone, and the place was quiet. I was alone. It was getting late, and I was tired. Time for bed. Well, I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Save. Just another day in the greenhouse. Water filters. Same old, same old. Work was over and I had time to kill. What was the last thing I did? Oh, I just cleaned up at the gym. Like, fucking nothing happened. I think Icarus. I really don't remember, actually. I think I cleaned up at the gym. Dumb, I'm tired. Yeah, Mom moves out. Blah, blah, blah. So this is... Okay, I did talk to Judah Icarus, but is that because I went to find him? I forget. How do I have to look for Jude? Yeah, okay. So, like, specifically went to look for Jude. Yeah, I was cleaning up at the gym. Okay. I sat at the bar and leaned my head against the counter. I was still reeling from the storm and the resulting chaos. A nice, strong drink. That would help. At least it would distract me for a few hours. Sam was offering a special and custom ale. Yeah, buy a drink. I ordered one and threw it back. It burned my throat a bit, so the alcohol content had to be high. I felt warm, and the music started to sound better. I rested my head in my hands and tried to chase away any thoughts. Focused on the music, focused on the warm feeling in my gut. I finished my drink. I feel like this is gonna be like get drunk or don't get drunk, so we'll see. I'm trying to relax here because I'm stressed. So let's save. Let's buy another drink. The song changed, but all the songs blend to each other. I left the music, it echoed to the walls in a way that never dawned on the surface. I sighed happily. I felt nice, warm and relaxed. Even if the room felt a bit tilted all of a sudden. Let's go home. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Okay, what if I buy another drink though? I had another drink and then another. I could afford it. I wasn't really spending the beads on anything else. Eventually I sat my head down in the cool bar laughing. I must have looked silly. Pushed myself to the feet and swayed over to the jukebox. I wanted to hear that first song again. I hit the buttons but nothing was happening. I sighed and tried to decide if I should keep trying. The buttons were faded and worn from use. Then I was shoved aside. I stumbled and only barely managed to stay on my feet. There was some guy at my jukebox messing with the buttons, but he managed to change the song. He had shoved me. I rolled my shoulder and moved without thinking. I shoved him back. Hey! The world began to spin. The guy turned to face me. Suddenly he was pulled away and I was alone glaring into an empty space. I stumbled back a step and hit a booth. The occupants glared up on me. I waved at them and mumbled an apology. Things were starting to get hazy, so I headed towards the bar. Sam might give me some water. Unless another drink would help. Another drink might make me feel good again. I couldn't find Sam, but she found me. She grabbed me and told me to go home. I tried to argue with Sam was scary, so eventually I gave in. Yeah, that wasn't good. Actually, no, like, I wanted to... Getting tired, laying for bed. The stress is still the same, so never mind. Was this my first drink? And then I finished my drink. Yeah, well, I think this one was buy another drink. And let's go home. Getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Yeah, I'm still pretty stressed. I'm pretty sure I would have lost standing last time. I forgot to even, like, look at it. Oh, well. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Good thing, no hangover. Saw Brian working his desk. At least he looked like I was working. Could be doodling. Brian and Trevor surrounded by hearts again. Does he actually do that? Shrugging it off, I grabbed my clipboard and headed over to my section to work in the compost. I picked up my tools, but stopped when I noticed that several bags of fertilizer were missing. Oh no. I know Jude approved of taking stuff that was headed for the compost, but fertilizer didn't count for that. The bags could have been gotten misplaced or used. I had a lot to do, but maybe I should say something. Jude was busy, so I'd have to tell Brian, not that he would care. I consider my options. Tell Brian, because fertilizer is sometimes used for explosives. I sat outside, sat my stuff down, and head towards Brian's office. I'm working! He hastily spoke as soon as I saw me, then tucked into a piece of paper under the other papers. There might have been hearts drawn on it. There are a bunch of bags of fertilizer missing in my section. Missing? No, they just got... He waved his hands in front of him in a general way. You know, the thing where... Distributed? Yeah, that. They're being used. He shrugged. Alright, I'll, get back to work. Brian nodded and started to pretend to read an upside-down form on his desk. I rolled my eyes and got back to work. Oh boy. The work was over and I had some time to kill. Oh boy. I feel like that was like a flag of something. I just went to Icarus, so I guess we're going to the library. Where did I last save? I was like, buy another drink, go home. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because I tried my best, and if I didn't report it, that would have just been like worse. I don't know. Nothing pretty interesting was going to the library today, and there's a few things I can do. See what Trevor's up to. To the library, seeing Brian and Trevor at the front as usual. I waved and headed towards the shelf to grab something. This time I really wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I couldn't help but stop and listen when I heard Trevor mutter what he did. Why don't you ever talk about her? I just don't like to. Her? Who is her? Yeah, but that doesn't seem very healthy. Don't you miss her? She was your sister, right? Yeah, but it was a long time ago. I'm sure she's still up there, somewhere, wreaking havoc. It doesn't bother you that she's gone? She knew what the mayor would say when she tried to bring her girlfriend here, so she basically made her choice. Honestly, she's probably happier. Brian's voice faltered. He's losing all the lazy laid-back tone he usually has. What Trevor was saying was making him uncomfortable. Happier on the surface? How could anyone be happier up there? There was a long, pregnant silence. Then Brian spoke, almost too softly for me to hear. I couldn't make out everything, but basically he was telling Trevor that he had to leave. Then he left. I waited about a minute and then stepped out of the shelves, attempting to act like I hadn't heard everything. Trevor was indeed alone and looking a bit confused. I approached the counter carefully, holding my book out to him. He took it, frowning, and started to write it down. Okay. Usually, telling the truth is better. So we'll try it. So I couldn't help but overhear. He glared at me, clearly not believing that I hadn't been listening purposely. Okay, but you were very cold to him. What? He clearly didn't want to talk about it, whatever it was. Trevor frowned and shook his head in confusion. I think it upsets him more than he lets on. What happened? His sister was exiled for trying to sneak someone from the surface into Camden. She was a courier and apparently had a bit of a wild streak. Wow, really? Trevor glowered at me. You're just trying to get gossip out of me. No, I'm not. I just thought I'd help. Sometimes I can't tell when people are being subtle like that either. Trevor shrugged. All right, here, just take your book and go. I took it from him and considered him a moment. He did seem to like he was thinking it over. He had it out of the library and left Trevor alone to think about things. If my friendship goes down, I'm redoing that. Getting late tired. Okay, we're okay, so we'll keep that. Got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. I keep looking at the puddle in front of the shower and getting annoyed. I mean, this is what bath mats are for. Or like, wipe it up, come on. It's another day in the greenhouse. Made sure Brian was doing what he was supposed to, help Jude get everything else done. Same old. Work was over and I had some time to kill. Gym. Walked into the gym and saw they were setting up a net thing. They cleared the central area and playing some kind of game with rackets. Is it like lacrosse? Or is it like tennis? Figuring the gym was closed, I started to leave, but Iris stopped me. Ashlyn, care to join us? Oh, I'm not sure what you guys are doing. You hit this weird thing with rackets? It's fun. Why don't you stick around? She held out a weirdly shaped arrowhead-looking thing. I knew nothing about this game, and if I participated, it might make myself look like a fool. Weird arrowhead-shaped thing. It's stay and play. Sure, I'm curious to see what happens when you hit that thing in a racket. Oh, badminton. I sat and watched for a while before picking a team. 2 people stood on each side of the net and swatted the weird ball from side to side. Everyone took turns and team swapped out once the ball hit the ground. It was lightweight, which made it easy to track and less hard to hit. Overall, it was very fun. When I started to get tired, I said my goodbyes and went home. It was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Still pretty stressed. I'm kind of annoyed we don't have like a friendship with Iris, but eh. Got up and headed out to grab coffee. Jude took me to the herb section and showed me how to carefully handle the more delicate plants. He left me to pick leaves, prune away the dead, and mark down if an entire plant had died. The herb area always smelled so strongly I could pick out mint, rosemary, and the lavender. Everything else seemed to blend to the other scents. It made my head swim, but I didn't mind. It was an earthy smell that I only ever found in the greenhouse, a wet smell that was preferable to the dry air that filled everywhere else. I took a deep breath. It wasn't always comfortable here, but I was learning to enjoy it. Work was over and had some time to kill. Icarus. Nothing particularly interesting was happening on Icarus today. A few things I can do. Save. Try to hang out with Sam. Sam was resting her chin in her hand and looked about ready to fall asleep. Tired? Obviously. I still big shit, and this place is empty. There were people, though not as many as she would like, I guess. Asked why she slept so early. Why didn't you get any sleep? Wish I knew. She stood up straight and rubbed her eyes roughly. I'm closing this place early, so unless you want a drink to go, get out. Okay, well, let's actually try to keep her awake instead. Try to keep you awake, somehow. Sam shook her head. I appreciate the thought, but I'm just gonna close early. Nodded. Want any help? Sure, you can clean up while I kick everybody out. I did as she asked while she started to clear the place out. Her movements were sluggish, but once everything was done, she gave me a small pat on the head. Aw, head pat. Sorry, I do that to Jude. Make him help out. It's okay, you're really tired. I don't mind helping. She nodded sleepily, and I wished her a good night's sleep. It was getting late, and I was tired. Time for bed. Nice, more friend with Sam. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. It was just another day in the greenhouse. Carefully organized reports that Brian had left scattered on his desk and checked the water tank levels. Same old, same old. Work was over and I had some time to kill. Library. Let's save again. I walked to the library and caught sight of Jude walking down an aisle while paging through a book. I should probably still say hi if I wanted to. He's just like never here. What's he doing? I took a step towards the aisle. Jude had walked down, stopped, took another step. My heart was beating rapidly and I felt unreasonably anxious. It was only Jude. My nerve was fading when he reappeared and stopped in front of me. Ashlyn. Oh, hey. I saw you. So, reading anything interesting? I tried to pretend my voice didn't crack and cleared my throat a bit. I was too old for this shit. Not really. He put his hands in his pockets and glanced down at the floor. I've been trying to get this weird bit of old tech working and I can't seem to get it running. Oh yeah? What is it? Well, it was a computer, or at least part of one. Some of the bits are melted, and I thought maybe I could see if it was worth salvaging. Computer? I've read about those. Yeah, I'd really like to figure out how they work. I wish we had more technical manuals here. What do you think we could do with one? Jude shrugged. So, I mean, if you want, I could show you sometime? The computer, I mean. I'd love that. I'm excited to see all your weird gadgets and old tech parts. Really? A lot of people think it's not worth the time. None of it ever works. At least, how it's supposed to. Now I shrugged. Yeah, but maybe we'll learn how to start building some of that stuff again. Wouldn't it be amazing? He smiled at me and we just stood there for a moment. Then Trevor shouted at us. Pick a book and get out. This isn't the community center. Jude rolled his eyes and we said our goodbyes. He walked out, giving me a final little wave. I haven't gone horror for a while. I grabbed Let's Feast Steve and brought it to the Grumpy Trevor. Getting late and I am tired. Time for bed. Ooh! Went up in level with Jude. Okay, let's... day 6, so this is Saturday. I headed to the bar, happened to find Jude there, but bumped into him in the hall. Hey, I was looking for you. In the hallway? I was headed towards your place. Come on, I have something really cool to show you. Alright. He was in a really good mood. He didn't even snap at his rubber bands as we walked. He took a turn down another hall and headed towards the living block. I started to feel a little nervous. Was he taking me to his place? I'd never been there before, but I suppose he'd been to mine quite a few times. He stopped outside a door and opened it. He led me inside and knew once this was definitely his home. There were odd technical gadgets and pieces all over the place. It wasn't dirty really, but cluttered. Welcome to my hole. Sam likes to call it my pack rat's den. I nodded. I could see why. It's cozy. Here, sit. He motioned towards his bed. I wiped my hands on my pants and sat among his many blankets and pillows. I chewed my lip while he dug through a box on his table. I shouldn't be nervous. Why was I nervous? After some digging, he pulled out the mangled-looking wires, and the small square plastic thing had looked at it like it had seen better days. The bed jostled a bit as he sat beside me and started to assemble something in his hands. What is that? Here, put these to your ears. Headphones? They weren't like anything I'd ever seen before. I did as he asked, and he squeezed the box, and suddenly there was music. It was quiet and distorted, but I could make out a tune and some lyrics. Amazing, isn't it? How is that small chunk of plastic? It's a portable music player thing. I haven't found one I could get to work. I managed to recharge his battery with this. I've lost you. No, I'm just listening to the music. I pulled the headphones away. He disassembled and started to pull some of the wires apart. The music on it is awful. I have no idea how to change it. Still, the concept is really cool. I nodded as he tossed everything towards the table. He probably meant for it to land in the box there, but it slid to the side, then looked back at me. I swallowed. So, I've heard a rumor. A rumor? You know how things keep going missing? Even weapons now from the security center. What? Jude nodded. Tomorrow at the community meeting, Mayor Davison is going to announce and enforce a curfew on everyone. A what? Jude placed a hand on my knee and leaned closer, and I instantly forgot all about my surprise. Maybe I could come see you those evenings. If anyone can evade guards, I can, but I wanted to ask before I tried. You want to break curfew? To see me? Big moves. Jude nodded and leaned slightly closer. His eyes drifted to lower to my mouth, and I felt frozen with the realization. I didn't move. I expected, but he spoke. Do you want me to come see you? I could feel his breath, and I could feel myself moving forward. I hardly whispered a confirmation before our lips met. The kiss was soft, and he pulled me closer as I wrapped my arms around his neck. He gently wrapped a strand of my hair in his fingers and tucked it behind my ear, sending shivers down my back. I started to feel a bit dizzy, so I pulled away to breathe. I wish you could stay. My heart skipped and practically jumped out of my chest when he said that. But I've got some work to do. He kissed me a few more times in quick succession. I'm sorry. It's alright. I'll see you again. Very soon. I chuckled and he slipped further away so I could catch my breath. Once my head was a bit clearer, I headed back home. Oh boy, it happened. It happened, we done it. Time for bed. Yeah, I think we might not be able to get full hearts because I chose the wrong thing in the beginning, which is fucking unfair, but at least we do get to like close that that romance part. For once there was no one to wake me up for the community meeting. I woke up with plenty of time anyway. I must have lost some of my ability to sleep in. I groaned and stretched, trying to get motivated to get moving. The promise of coffee urged me on, and I was quickly dressed and ready to leave. As I walked, I wondered what the meeting would be about. So many things seemed to be happening lately. Jude also thought the mayor is about to force a curfew. Would he really do something so severe? I walked into the community center and was busy as always for these meetings. I grabbed a cup of coffee and moved closer to the front. Mom waved me over. I'd only meant to say hello, but now it seemed like I was sitting beside her. She wrapped her arms around me and squeezed me tightly. Oh, I missed my baby. Miss you too. She let me go and smiled brightly at me. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you. We need to catch up. I've heard about you and Jude, so how are things between you two? Wow, how do people know that? How'd you hear about it? Rumors really traveled like crazy around here. I covered my face and took a deep breath. I was an adult, so I should be able to talk to my mother about this stuff without being a rattled mess about it. Well, me and Jude have been hanging out a lot, I guess. He is pretty cute. Yeah. I don't know much about him. So mysterious. He's a good guy. I wasn't about to mention the theft. Mom shrugged. You like him though, right? That's what really matters to me. Yeah, I like him. I need to change the subject. So I guess I should ask you about the mayor? I tried not to make a face, but Mom didn't seem to notice. He has a very nice home. I need to take you to it sometime. I know he claims it's the same, but it's a bit bigger, and the furniture and bedding is fancier. I guess that makes sense, since he's in charge. Don't worry, I plan to send you some of those soft sheets when he isn't looking. She smiled and nudged me. I'm also planning to have him secretly raise your wages, but you can't tell anyone, okay? How are you going to... Shh, I can't give you all my secrets yet. I could only smirk at her. She had a knack for getting things she wanted from men. It appeared that the mayor was just weak to her charms of the others. Before I could say anything else, the mayor tapped on the mic and started to address the crowd. He appeared more sober than usual, frowning as if we all shared in his disappointment. It has come to our attention that several vital supplies have gone missing very recently and are under very suspicious circumstances. This means I have no choice but to take drastic action to secure your safety. The latest has been a cache of weapons from the armory. As you all know, the armory is heavily guarded, so this is a very serious breach of security and will be handled as such. Starting now, a curfew will, unfortunately, be necessary. Until we find these missing items and who is behind the theft, evenings should be spent at home. I hope you will all cooperate with these added safety measures. This will be inconvenient, I know, but essential in keeping you all safe while we work to restore order to our home. He continued to speak on about the curfew, and I looked at Mom. She shrugged at me and shushed me. When the mayor was done, she was finally willing to speak. Did you know about this? Yeah, he's really worried about the missing weapons. What is going on? Well, it seems as if the people who are angry at Rick for keeping the doors shut during the storm have somehow contacted a nearby group of Sandmen. They seem to be plotting to take over Camden. I just nodded, not sure what else to say. The Sandmen weren't great, but the mayor was worse. How does he know? He just does. He has eyes and ears everywhere. She shrugged and placed a hand on my knee. Don't worry too much, though. I'll keep you safe no matter what. I smiled and tried not to give her anything away in my features. Whatever happened, I wasn't sure Mom would be able to do much about it, but she wouldn't want to hear that. People were so worked up about the curfew, but my thoughts were getting pulled to the festival. I wanted to get a great gift for Jude, but what? I'd be able to pick something up tomorrow, so I had all night to stress out about it. I was getting late and I was tired. Time for bed. Okay, at least my stress isn't going up too much. I got up and headed out to grab coffee before work. Okay, we'll save here. It was just another day in the greenhouse. I danced along to Jude's music while I mixed the compost. The stench was horrible. Same old, same old. Now that work was over, I was supposed to just sit at home because of the curfew. The second Jude knocked on the door, I threw it open. I'd been waiting and listening. My nerves were on edge and I was so worried to get caught, but there he was. I guess this kind of works together. Like, if you get high enough relationship, then instead of doing the fun, like, see what's going on with the community thing, you get to, like, mess around with your love interest. He swiftly entered and I shut the door quietly behind him. That was nothing. Don't look so worried. What do you mean? He shrugged. The guards are all tired and spread out way too thin. Getting here was super easy. I frowned and he sighed. I'm being careful. Come on, give me some credit. He pulled me into his arms and pressed me against his chest. Then he let out a deep breath. It hasn't been that long since you've seen me. Like we worked together. It's not that. I've never had anyone like you in my life before. I pulled away a bit to look at him. What do you mean? Someone who cared about me like this. Not like Sam, obviously. I didn't know what to say. He pulled me against him again and whispered into my ear. Just stay close to me for a second, okay? I didn't reply, but I didn't pull away again. Eventually he moved slightly, but only to kiss me. We spent the night together, talking and enjoying each other's company. Home, now alone, I crawled into bed and went to sleep. Oh, he left. Okay. I mean, I guess that's too much to go, but it's like, he could stay there because we have 2 beds, really. Though I guess that would be weird. I don't know. Like, I would mostly be worried about, like, well, you have to make your way past the guards to get back also, so that's, like, double the risk of coming to anything. Like, I don't know. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. I feel like this part would be so easy if you were dating Eva, because she would probably be patrolling. She'd just be like, let me patrol my girlfriend's block. Yeah. And then, like, she'd just come see you, and then you wouldn't have to be worried about anybody finding out. I don't know if Micah would get the same thing. Like, Jude obviously seems sneaky, so he seems like he'd do it. I don't know if Glory has, like, this enough standing to just kind of go wherever she wants. Maybe she does. Maybe Micah's just like, well, I gotta check on some patients and let me go. I don't know. I got up and headed out to grab coffee before work. The curfew had really started to mess with morale. Working and then going straight home was more tiring than I thought it was. It fucking sucks. It really sucks. Having a third place is great. Of course, Jude had been seeking out to see me, but even that was a bit draining for me. I tried to focus on taking inventory of the vegetables, but it was just in an awful mood for work. So many things are happening. I took a deep breath and tried to shake off the thoughts. Focus. I had work to do. Now that work was over, I was supposed to just sit at home because of the curfew. Jude came again and was still very nonchalant about it. I wonder if Sam knew what he was up to. He sat beside me and pulled out a bunch of wires from his pockets. I've been trying to listen to the radio communications. I keep getting these strange beep noises, though. You're listening in on the radio? With these wires? No, I just saw these on the ground on the way here. I frowned. Please, Jude, don't push your luck getting here. Sam will kill me if this gets to be put in a holding cell. He laughed. I was joking. These are mine. I left them in my pocket on accident, I guess. I rolled my eyes. But the beeps have me worried. I thought they were just some weird technical glitch, or maybe interference. But the more I hear them, the more they seem to have a pattern. The mood of the room was slowly getting serious as he dug through his pockets again. It wasn't like Jude to be worried about something like this. You're super smart. Does this mean anything to you? He pulled out a piece of paper with small and large circles scribbled in lines. I had no idea, but it did look like it had some kind of pattern. Maybe it's couriers communicating? Have you asked the courier? I haven't had a chance to ask anyone else with this damn curfew. That's true. I nodded. That makes sense. It wasn't like anyone had a lot of free time to openly socialize anymore. He shoved the wires and paper back into his pocket and shrugged. That's very suspicious stuff to have on you, though, dude. Start to talk about more casual topics. I'm very worried for him. Go to sleep. I got up and headed out to grab a coffee before work. Just another day in the greenhouse. Inventory, same old, same old. Now the work's over, supposed to stay here and work. Time passed and started worried. Jude hadn't arrived. He was usually here by now. Did he get caught? Then I heard a commotion out in the hallway and my heart dropped. I ripped the door open without thinking. I saw Jude and some random person arguing. Get out of here! I would think that you, of all people, would support us. I know your group has ties with the Sandmen. As far as I'm concerned, you're all one of them. Just know that the nasty brands on your arms. I was confused, but I heard footsteps and grabbed Jude before he could argue with me. The security officer peered around a corner, so I called out loud enough for the whole block to hear. Leave us alone! We're about to have dinner and you're interrupting us! I pulled Jude inside, and thankfully he didn't protest. I swiftly shut the door and heard shouting and footsteps while the security officer chased the curfew breaker. That was some quick thinking. I wasn't sure it would work. My little scene made it seem as if Jude lived here, and since I didn't recognize the security officer, it must have worked. We hardly caught our breath before there was a buzz at the door. We exchanged looks, but Jude gave me an encouraging nod. I opened the door to see another security officer I didn't know. Can we help you? Does this man live with you? She looked suspicious. Yes, though the paperwork might not have fully cleared. I looked down at the ground and hoped the lie sounded plausible enough. Right. Now, about that person bothering you earlier. I saw her jot down something and shot Jude a worried look. If she looked up the paperwork, we might be in trouble, but I suppose we could worry about that later. I wasn't sure what to say. I hadn't really known what was happening, but Jude took over. They were one of the rebels trying to oppose the mayor. They were trying to recruit us. I told them how laughable that was. I mean, Ashlyn here is practically the mayor's stepdaughter. I blinked. The officer blinked. What? What? That's right. Ashlyn Phillips, your mother. I cleared my throat. Yes, Mom, the mayor, yeah. That's, right. She moved in with the mayor, so... I motioned towards Jude and then shrugged. Well, I hope they didn't bother you too. I'll try to make sure we keep the hallways clear around here from now on. Don't put yourself out. She shouldn't get special treatment. Besides, next time we plan not to answer the door after curfew. The security officer nodded. Sensible. Well, I'm sorry to bother you two. We parted politely and I shut the door, then turned to Jude with wide eyes. The mayor's stepdaughter? He just started to laugh. I'm sorry. It got us out of trouble, didn't it? I guess. You thought fast, too. You said we were moving in together. A little quick for us, don't you think? I opened my mouth to speak, but didn't know what to say. Moving in with someone on the surface was never a big deal. He smirked and shrugged, sensing my unease. It takes a bit to get used to. On the surface, you just sleep in a different place, but down here, there's all this paperwork involved. Makes it a bigger deal, I guess. That's weird. He nodded. Yeah, but the mayor really likes to micromanage everything as much as possible. I bet he'd set up families himself if people would let him. Fucking Walt Disney ass. I laughed. That sounded insane. Of course, it also sounded like something he would do. With the awkward tension relieved, we sat and talked for the rest of the night. I did wonder about that rebel from earlier. I did support where they wanted, even if I knew Jude didn't. What would have happened if Jude hadn't been here? Home, now alone, I crawled into bed and went to sleep. I got up and headed out to grab the coffee before work. I couldn't focus at all today. Brian was nowhere to be found as usual. Jude was busy trying to do the work of several people. I spent way too much time pacing. I needed to change out dirty water for clean. I forced my hands and body to move. I had to forget what else was going on. I need to get this done. It took some time, but eventually I was able to fall into the usual flow of work. When it was over, my whole body felt like it was ready to fall apart. Now the work was over, I was supposed to sit at home before the curfew. Jude knocked the door, so I quickly let him in. After what happened last time, I was even more nervous from before. However, he looked as relaxed as always. I brought you something. He had caught me off guard, but then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small knife. What are you doing with that? I want you to keep it on you for protection. Are you serious? Yes, the people working against the mayor right now are dangerous. They have ties to the Sandmen, so they can't be trusted. Those could just be rumors. It's better to be safe. Just keep this on you so you can protect yourself. This looks like an illegal... It is, so don't let anyone know you have it. I sighed. Jude and his contraband. How do you get all this stuff? I sneak into the courier stash and sift through the junk. They're so slow to inventory everything, and it's easy to get in and out if you know what you're doing. Ah, Jude, my criminal. I'm so proud. What criminal is leaving all that stuff untouched? Anyway, I'm just happy to see you. See me? He stepped closer and pulled me into a tight hug. I felt a bit of tension ease away in my shoulders. Then he whispered in my ear, "Would you like me to stay tonight?" Ooh. Ooh. Let's save. Depending on how this goes, I might not be able to do this on stream. I don't know. Let's say yes or no. I couldn't say the words, so I only nodded. He kissed me and pulled me towards the bed. I woke up at some point. Okay, so it just kind of happens. I woke up at some point in the middle of the night, alone. He had left a note, but was gone. He had apparently needed to get an early start at work and not wanting to wake me, so I rolled back over and went to sleep. Now, home, now alone, I crawled into bed and went to sleep. But don't you have to go to work? I guess you find the note when you, like, properly wake up. I don't know. I got up and headed out to grab coffee before work. It was just another day in the greenhouse. I cleaned up water, blah, blah, blah. Same old, same old. Now that work was over, I was supposed to just sit at home because of the curfew. Soft knocked at the door. Expect to see Jude, but it wasn't him. I opened the door and someone I didn't recognize handed me a sheet of paper. I looked down at it, but it felt like I might know what this was about. You're with the rebels. I'm with the other people of Canton who want the mayor held accountable for his crimes. And most of all, we want change. Do you really think it's fair to keep the doors closed? I sighed. Knowing how Jude felt and how my mother was tied to the mayor, I made this harder. No, I think what you guys are doing is right. It needs to be done. Damn, I thought they would give me a choice so I could reverse it. But, like, I guess it really is, like, what I chose in the beginning. This change is coming. Is it? How? We can't go into the details, but when it begins, we can count on your support. That's too cryptic. Why won't you tell me more? It's too dangerous. I wouldn't even know what to tell you. I'm not told everything either. We have to trust the people who began this movement and who are leading us into it. Okay, I tried a few more times, but the stranger didn't budge. He told me nothing. I told him he should go, but that I could stand with them when whatever it was, it happened. Damn. The stranger vanished into the halls. The paper was just a simple message of soon it will be time to act. It was ridiculously vague, but I suppose they really did need to be careful. I tucked the flyer away before Jude arrived. I didn't want to upset him if he saw it. Eventually he did come by and we sat around and talked about different things. I felt bad not telling him what happened, but I knew how he would react if I did. Home, now alone, I crawled into bed and went to sleep. I stopped over at the luxury store so I could pick out a present. I looked over everything available and tried to pick something I thought I would like. Let's save again. Rusty flask, a broken blender, a stuffed animal. A broken blender. I purchased the spare parts and then dropped it off at home to wrap it later when I had time. Then I went out back out to find Jude. Finding him was easy enough. I checked the bar first and there he was. He was sitting alone, toying with the rubber band that was always at his wrist and staring off into space. He didn't look up when I sat beside him, but instead just shifted his weight to lean against me. You're not drunk, are you? No, I wish. Rough day? No, yes, I don't know. He sighed and pulled away to look at me. It's a good day now. I smiled. I couldn't stop myself. You always seem so exhausted. Maybe you should take some days off work. Let all the plants die? I doubt Brian would remember to take care of anything. I frowned. He had a joking tone, but there was some truth to it. I'll eventually be able to give you some time off. That wouldn't do any good. What? Why? If I was off work, I'd want to spend that time with you. He said it casually while twisting his rubber band into his fingers, which caught me off guard. Oh, my mind was racing, but I felt a bit speechless. Aren't you guys, like, legitimately a couple at this point? Anyway, are you excited for tomorrow? Tomorrow? The Summer's End Festival. Oh! I bought you a gift. Oh yeah? I might have made you something. Will it be nice, you think? Jude shrugged. Well, I set aside the requested food, and I know it was pretty nice last year. Yeah? It'll be nice spending it with you. He took my hand unexpectedly, and I was left not knowing what to say again. Finally, I managed to choke something out. It'll be nice spending it with you, too. I cleared my throat and tried to relax. His hand was warm. We would try and lay rocks out in patterns when I was a kid. Just a way of decorating, I guess. Me and Mom would make all these weird shapes and try to make them look like things. Sam would close the bar down, we'd hang out and find something fun to do. Board games or make sweetened bread if we had the stuff. Sweet bread? Traders would stop at the bar, and sometimes she could pick us up sugar or other weird things. That's awesome. We can get sugar almost any time we want down here. And that is also awesome. He smiled and squeezed my hand. I told him a few other details about how me and Mom would typically spend the holidays. He told me more about his own past experiences. Eventually I had to head home. I was getting tired and tomorrow would be a big day. Home, now alone, go to bed. Yeah. I guess there's not much to change for the levels at this point. We can't see anybody else to improve it. And yeah, that's just it. I woke up and for a moment I wondered where Mom was until I remembered she no longer lived here. I really need to get used to live on my own. I gathered the present. It was wrapped in a nice patterned paper, but it looked like lumpy trash. I sighed and tried to smooth it out. I hoped Jude liked the spare parts. I stepped into the community center. The room was decorated with paper streamers and a lot of the same type of stuff they're usually done up with. I felt a bit let down, but tried to forget about it. I took a few steps in, glancing around for Jude, but then arms wrapped around me from behind and I was, squeezed. Ah. I was like, which one is it? Ashlyn! Mom released me and I turned to see her with a flushed face and a big smile. I feel like you almost killed me. Oh, don't be so dramatic. I couldn't possibly squeeze you that hard. Here, I got you something. I had picked her up something as well and handed her the small package. It was a chip mug, but it had flowers all over it. She carefully opened the gift and turned it over in her hands. Her eyes lit up and hugged me again. It wasn't the greatest, but I thought she might liked it. I got you something too. She handed me a gift. I opened it and looked down at another pretty coffee mug. Ah, Mom. It was my turn to hug her, and we chuckled over our shared present. We'd each gotten each other almost the same thing. I haven't seen much of you lately. Are you and the mayor? Rick, just call him Rick. I imagined my face because she started to laugh. It's not like I'm asking you to call him Dad. Ugh. Mom just laughed. Yes, we're doing well. This one's a keeper. I sighed and shrugged. I'm happy if you're happy. She placed a hand on my shoulder and gave it a squeeze. I know you're anxious to find Jude, so I'll leave you alone now. I blinked, unsure how to feel. I nodded and she had walked away, as graceful as always. It was so strange to spend so much time away from her now, but I think I'd gotten used to it. We'd always lived together and it was always just us. Men came and went, sure, but the went was always inevitable. It wasn't like the mayor was going anywhere, so I guess this was it. I have tried of the men that would come into her life and again. I forgot the words already. I rubbed my eyes and tried to clear my head. People live differently in Camden, it's all part of that. I just needed to find Jude and then any melancholic thoughts would fade away. I spotted Jude carrying something bulky and large. It was headed my way and smiled when our eyes met. He tried to hand me the present, but it was too heavy and I almost dropped it. Shit. What is this? I'll just set this down. He sat it down in a good spot and then pointed at it. Open it. I didn't argue. Curiosity was killing me. However, when the wrapping paper was gone, I still wasn't sure what it was. Oh, Jude, thank you. It's great. It makes coffee. Wait, what? Coffee. Really? Yeah. I poked it gingerly. I'll take his word for it. I'll show you later, alright? I love it, Jude, really. That was so thoughtful. He shrugged. It's nothing. I handed him the poorly wrapped gift. It wasn't anywhere near as large. He tore off the paper in one go and smiled at the spare parts. Do you like it? Yeah, I love it. He set it next to my coffee maker and pulled me into an embrace. He took a deep breath into my hair. You smell nice. You smell like the greenhouse. He laughed. Oh, I know. He kissed the top of my head and pulled me towards the dance floor. We slowly swayed with the music. Jude really wasn't much for dancing, so I was a little surprised he had taken me here. I wasn't going to question it, though. I enjoyed standing close and spending time with him. The night ended so quickly, though. Before I knew it, it was time to go our separate ways. This was the best summer's end I've ever experienced. I was exhausted and said a reluctant goodbye to Jude. Home now, alone. Crawled in bed, went to sleep. Yeah. Got up and headed out to grab coffee before work. How much more longer do we have before something happens? I wonder. Oop. Another day in the greenhouse. Made sure Brian was doing what it's supposed to. Same old, same old. Got into bed, spending evening alone. Getting late, tired. It's okay, no Jude this time. Woke up and rolled out of bed, more tired. Went to work. Whoops, something happened. I walked in and waved to Jude. He looked tense. Is Brian missing again? As usual. He snapped at the rubber band on his wrist and sighed. Come on, let's get to work. I nodded and started to go over the inventory. I didn't get far. There was a loud explosion. The room shook and the hanging plant swung gently back and forth. Are you okay? Jude rushed to my side, but I was fine. What's going on? I don't know. We waited for something to be said over the intercom, but an announcement never came. We did learn through the shouting outside the halls that the entrance door had been blown open. We were under attack. A few security officers filtered in, accompanied by Sam, who looked ready for a fight. I told Jude I wanted to check on Mom and left to join the others. I hated to lie, but I knew he wouldn't understand. Aw. The rebellion had begun. I need to join the others. Damn, at least like you do what you're solid on. I ran to the chaos unsure of what to do. I'd never been given instructions. Finally saw someone who was shouting out various orders. He must be in charge. Who's this? What can I do to help? I bit back the fear when I realized he was a Sandman from the surface. The rags and warmth of his skin should have given away sooner, but the way he spoke to me that made me really sink in. You want to help Earthworm, then go secure the greenhouse. A weight settled into my stomach. Not there. He didn't give me time to argue. Go on! We don't want to blow the place open, but we will. I nodded and ran off in that direction. If they were willing to do anything necessary, then I had to convince Jude to step aside. I got to the entrance of where the other rebels and Sandmen were standing outside. The doors are barred on the other side. I pushed my way through them. If I could just get to Jude, I could prevent bloodshed. The numbers around me grew and so did the pressure. Camden was falling and the greenhouse was one of the final places to take. Jude! Jude, can you hear me? I banged on the door, ignored people debating whether to stop me or not. I could feel so many eyes on my back it made my skin crawl. Jude? I heard something move on the other side of the door. Ashlyn? Jude, you've got to let us in. No one needs to get hurt. It's over. Camden is over. There was a bloated silence that followed my words. Jude had to know now, without a doubt, which side I stood on. Jude, please move. Please move the barricade and let us in. Us? I heard some loud crashes and shouting. Then the door opened and I faced Jude. He didn't say anything, but his face said it all. I couldn't speak, and as I stood there silent, the rebels rushed around and passed me into the greenhouse. I averted my eyes from Jude. I just couldn't look at him as he glared at me. Is that all you have to say? I thought you were in danger. I thought you were a hostage being used as bait. Jude, don't you remember what it's like out there? How could you support keeping the doors closed? I told you why. Sandmen? After everything I've told you, you want the greenhouse, the Sandmen here? Take it. He stepped aside, waving his arms at the now open door. The greenhouse had already been taken, but I understood the insult. I tried to think of something to say, but he stormed off. Sam followed after him, scowling at me. I wasn't sure where they would go, but I had a feeling they wouldn't be staying in Camden. I'd probably never see Jude again. I stepped into the greenhouse to help the others secure it. It was clear that the fighting was pretty much over. Camden was ours. I knew one thing. Nothing would ever be the same again. The end. You unlocked the Shattered Ties ending. Aw, man. I really wish, thanks for playing As We Know, you could provide feedback clicking here. Damn, so we did get an ending. I really do wish that you could make this choice further down, or at least you have a chance to like reverse it or something. Cause like, I have had no idea who would support what in the beginning. I was just kind of like, well, as somebody from the surface, like, I would know what it was like, and it feels like selfish. I also don't personally, like, as a player, know anything about the Sandmen or anything like that. Apparently they're bad, but nobody really talks about it. I don't know. Let's see how fast. Actually, I probably can't do it that fast because, like, okay, let's make our same Ashlyn. Yeah. Let's skip everything. What was the question? I missed some too. Let's see. Let's study the map, explore to get your bearings. I didn't try to explore before. Step outside after telling Mom back a bit and give me a distracted nod. Halls were buzzing with activity, people in out of uniform wandering around, doors hung open while people laughed, cried, shouted, even sang. Noticed a sign on the wall pointed towards the community center, so I followed it. Turned a corner and ran to something solid. Oh, you run into fucking Micah. What? I stumbled a step back and hand clasped my shoulders. Are you alright? The man released his grip after a moment to study me briefly, his words surprisingly gentle as his grip has been. Yeah, sorry about that. I should watch where I'm going. It's quite alright, but you should try to be more alert. He started to walk away, so I spoke up to stop him. Is this the right way to the community center? You're heading to the newcomer orientation? I was just trying to see if I could find it, and I'm going back to get my mother. That's a good plan. You're more likely to remember the location if... Oh! He held his hand out to me. Forgive me, I'm Dr. Michael Everett. You might see me around the clinic. I'm Ashlyn. Doctor? Yes, that's me. I should have introduced myself earlier. Unfortunately, I'm a bit distracted at the moment. He smiled slightly, so I nodded and tried not to show how thrown off I was by his polite tone. I suppose I'll need to assign us some kind of job? They're supposed to tell us more at the orientation. Don't worry, they plan to have open houses for each career so everyone can learn more about them. You wouldn't happen to have any medical knowledge, would you? We could always use people in the clinic. I could always do what is needed. Never had to treat a serious illness yesterday, thankful, but I could do it if I had to. I don't doubt that. You seem very capable. I've always had to be. We stayed quietly for a moment until I noticed it was getting a bit awkward. I suppose I should let you get back to what you were doing. Sorry for running into you. It was lovely meeting you, Ashlyn. I'm sure they see you around. He smiled and continued on his way. We'd been a bit distant, but it seemed friendly if he got past the formal way he spoke. I went back following the signs until I realized they did indeed lead directly to where I needed to go. Went back to get Mom and headed to the music center. Okay. Check out the bulletin. I think I did last time. What was it? Good with people. I try my best, maybe. I think so. There weren't a lot of opportunities. Oh, I didn't do this before. What did I do before? I don't know. Yeah, I did this before. Okay. Sleep more or get coffee. I think I chose sleep. Yeah. Couple watched this, 2 security officers I think I asked them what was going on so I didn't get like too weirdly stressed. Why did I not? Oh, okay, you know what? Probably if I looked at the map, Ava came into my room instead. True what I imagined, but this wasn't it. It was so boring. Did I? Because I did do this before. Then I said, all right. You don't look like a criminal to me. That's a relief. Whoop. Turn. Probably not safe. Yeah, I think better visual, like much more well-optimized visual novels manage to stop you at the thing before the choice, or like they have it at the bottom. Look at the order of the cards. I'm pretty sure that's what I did to just figure it out. Something practical. Ask Mike what's bothering him. I think I called out to him. Yeah. You want something? Yeah. I got my like sparkling rum with mint. Take a hard water, yeah. And that became my drink. Something expensive hell, no secret enough of you. Kill you, return. You're right, because I didn't want to be like, sure, keep smoking, person that I'm potentially interested in. So what would I remember? Is there like... I don't remember what I said here. I think I tried to explain. Big change. Yeah, that's definitely what I said. Smile at me, maybe was forced. Say something to her about the mayor. Be blunt, I think. Because I was like, what's up with that? Did I say I love to exercise? I can see myself spending a lot of time here. Seemed nice. Yeah. I think I'd like to work here. Did I actually listen to Brian? I think I listened to Brian's pitch because I was like not sure what to do here. Mom called me green spot from bed. She must have been preoccupied. Wait. Maybe I started feeling stressed out because I was. Stressed, I guess. A lot going on. This was also, I wasn't sure. It was peaceful here. You're awake, might as well get dressed. I don't know if I can do this. Was this where it can't do anything? Yeah. And I think, Wasn't quite somebody to talk to. I think I talked to Jude here. Oh no, I didn't. So maybe I talked to Micah. Yeah. Actually no, we're gonna go back. Wait, how do I oh, backside left. Is there yeah, we'll just do some sugar and cream because that's what I said last time. What is it? Hang out. I'll just have to see for myself. Oh no, I didn't do that. Try to find out more. Yeah, I went into agriculture. I don't remember what I did here. Let's save here. What if I stay? No, I don't know, going back home. Okay. Did I go to the community center? Yes, I did. I know at this time I played charades, and I just nodded. What was the question? I got this right, and I think I said Sweet Road Rough. Yeah. Okay, and at this point is where I started to kind of do whatever. I started off. I am trying to do as much as I did eventually, but this is actually taking quite a while. Hold on. Let's see. Week 2. Where were we before? Like, oh, I saved over it. Week 12. Oh, there's 12 weeks. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to go 10 weeks without it getting like really boring. So I think it's probably best that we just like give up on this for stream. Like maybe I'll do it myself. But that's about it. Whoever is watching for today, thank you for watching. It's time to end it for now. It's a little bit early, but it's better than continuing too much. And we'll do more random itch.io games next week. I have 3 downloaded. I'll get more. But yeah, this one took a bit more time than I thought, and plus I started out late, so we might as well get it done. But that was it. Unfortunately, I kind of wish we didn't get a bad end, but that's kind of what happens when you play a visual novel for the first time. You don't really know what's going on, so I'm not really that surprised. But yeah, hopefully everybody enjoys the rest of your week. Take care of yourselves. Stay cool, stay frosty. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.